Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3. All right, we're good. Hello, how's everyone doing today? All right, how's everyone doing today? Welcome to the Black Brain Trust YouTube channel. Today is Friday. Today we go over economics. Today is the Money Making Friday show. Today we'll be going over such topics as crypto, Litecoin, Opera, ETFs. We'll be going over something that FINRA stated, the rapper Pusha T, Trump, and we'll end the show talking about stocks, bonds, charts. Today should be a great show for us today. Uh, we have another co-host. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, what's going on, brother? I'm good. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Um, gonna give it one more minute to you to get the link. I guess it was a broken link. It wasn't going live, so I have to resend the link out. Excuse me. But yeah, we should have a good show today. Another good show on over here on the Black Brain Trust. Uh, another few you can listen to. Whoever's listening, another one you can listen to back to back. If you like our Friday, Monday, and Wednesday shows, we're here for you. We're here to give you the news. We're gonna give it a couple more seconds before we start the show. All right, all right. We should go ahead and get into it. Let me share my browser, share my screen. I mean, all right. Our first article comes from Engadget.com. This is by Chris Hope, July 11th. Opera tests an in-browser cryptocurrency wallet on Android. Opera is embracing the cryptocurrency movement by testing an Ethereum wallet in its Android mobile browser. It makes Opera the first major browser to add a built-in crypto wallet. You can import an existing wallet or create a new one. It allows you to send and receive money directly in the browser. as well as make online purchases where merchants support crypto transactions. Ethereum is the second largest cryptocurrency around, with a bit less than half the market cap of Bitcoin, but far outpacing other coins. Opera chose the Ethereum platform in part because of how developers have embraced it to create apps with games, collectibles, exchanges, and gambling. The browser supports some of these apps, and the wallet can store tokens and collectibles such as unique digital cats from the game CryptoKitties. Opera says that the browser will support other currencies in the future. Opera, which recently added a tool to stop sites from mining coins through your browser, is hoping to expand adoption of cryptocurrency by making it more friendly yet secure. The browser protects the wallet with Android system lock instead of complex passwords, and all of the keys that control the wallet remain on the device and are uploaded anywhere. Opera is testing the wallet in a private beta, and you can sign up if you are interested. And they leave a link where you can sign up. This is pretty good. I saw in the census it says it makes Opera the first major browser. Um, other weeks, a couple of weeks ago, we went over. I think we did on air browser, Brave, the Brave browser. That's based on the BET token, basic attention token. But this article is you could add that to adoption. Now, cryptocurrency is starting to be adopted around the world in little by little is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. What about this article stands out to you, Mike?
I'm a big Opera user myself, so I want to make sure I put that up front. I've been using Opera for some years now. And it's very thorough in terms of speed and performance. But adding the ability to have a in-browser cryptocurrency wallet just makes it that much more robust. When you think about the Android platform, and you're talking about um, using the web browser as a wallet, and then when you add you know blockchain technology to a phone, you're talking about your own self-governing bank at this point.
Hmm. Yeah. I knew of. First, I would like to welcome my other third co-host. How you doing, Dollar Will?
Hello, fellas.
How you doing today?
Doing great.
I know of Opera. I'm not a big user of Opera. I have no qualms or anything about with Opera. I just haven't used it for no particular reason. But this makes me think about using it. To be honest, not depending on, but would like to also see as time goes other ways Opera will let you allow you to use cryptocurrencies. I know the game CryptoKitties was back in December, late December. It was notorious for clogging up the Ethereum blockchain. So I like how they put that in there as a nod to it. But this makes me interested. What else is down the pipeline for operating cryptocurrencies? Oh, how you doing, anti gravity? All right, yeah.
I think
Hello,
he's trying.
fellas. Can I
Go
ask
ahead,
a
dog.
question? Yeah, I saw that I was interested when I saw the article, and I was wondering, does having the wallet integrate having it integrated in the browser, does it make it easier to establish a wallet?
I I believe by using the Brave browser, it cuts out having to download a wallet on your computer and deal with the encryption of it, and if you're
So it's going to use the browser's encryption. Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
So the browser, so to be more technical, the browser has something called TLS 1.1 and 2.0. I don't think 2.0 is fully acceptable yet, but I believe 1.2 is the latest version. or I think 1.3 is supposed to be the next version. But everybody uses TLS for secure communications now, and TLS is transport layer security. So it's the new version of what was SSL before. Previously, some years ago, institutions used to use SSL as a form of secure transmission for banking transactions, as well as other financial transactions. But now everybody
What's up, you
moves
guys?
to
How are you guys
TLS.
doing?
Hey, what's
I
going
think
on, Noah?
I remember, but what was a secure socket layer?
Yes, SSL.
Okay.
SSL 3.0, but TLS has picked up the evolution in terms of that layer of security. So when you add, because all the browsers can support that now, including Opera. So when you add SSL 1.2, 1.3, what that does is it allows you to make very secure transactions. And then when you add the blockchain from Ethereum on top of it, then what that does for the browser is it makes the entire browser authenticated from end to end. So now your wallet is in a pretty safe space. And in order for somebody to attack that, they would have to be really trying to target you to get the assets that they want from you.
And since the banks are already using the technology on browsers, I'm just thinking out loud. It says to me that okay, browser security is a high priority issue, for the nation. Okay, so if crypto wallets are on that same platform, cryptos get the benefit from that same security.
Yep, the same mechanism of security is going to be beneficial all around.
Whereas
Putting the wallet in the browser.
Whereas if they had their own something outside of the browser, they would have to bear the brunt and responsibility of keeping that current.
Exactly. So you're basically catching the bus while it's in motion.
That's what I'm trying to say. There you go. Right. Like leveraging the work of the whole internet industry as opposed to
The
infrastructure as opposed to doing your own thing. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. And you can there's the new version of Opera allows you to jump from your desktop browser back to your mobile browser and from your mobile browser back to your desktop. So you have that sort of robust mobility going back and forth, as well as I think Opera is supposed to be working on their own phone operating system. So there's supposed to be like a Opera phone coming out.
Wow. Well, I think you just convinced me to give Opera a shot. Is Opera available on all the major phones? Android, iPhone.
I don't know about iPhone, but I know it's available on Android. And the article states that it's Android based. But I know you can use it on your desktop too. I use it on my desktop right now for Hangouts, and I never really have any problems. So
yeah, I have it here on my Mac. I just never used it. I have it downloaded. I just never launched it. But now I'm going to give it a shot.
Hey, Ulysses, what's going on?
What's going on?
Man, what's up, Snob?
Nothing much. Just checking in with all the other snobbish individuals on this hangout. How you guys are doing tonight?
Good. All right. Now, another thing I like about this is it's Ethereum. It's an Ethereum wallet, which means not only Ethereum tokens, but all other coins based on the Ethereum platform. And from what we all know, there's many of coins and tokens. That's
EOS.
Now EOS just did they mainnet, so they coming off the Ethereum platform. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, EOS is basically the 2.0 to what Ethereum is right now, 1.0.
Okay. All right.
You're going to see a lot more web browsers, Firefox, Opera. I believe there's another version of Mozilla coming out later. But all of these browsers really started on Netscape.
Now,
that's a long
time. You have anything to add?
Yeah. I remember Netscape, that big icon in the upper left corner.
Yeah, the Netscape Navigator.
Yeah. I remember that. Now, I'm not a big fan of Firefox.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Now,
like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I've used it
maybe
for years.
maybe since the last time I used it, it was just slow to me, and that's why I transitioned
Huh.
from Firefox to Chrome. It was just slow and clunky. I don't know. Maybe since then they sped things up, but I wasn't a big fan of it.
I would say the only reason why I kind of transitioned, and it really wasn't a transition, it was just a matter of convenience, because Chrome pretty much kind of logs into if you're logged into your Gmail and then you have a Chrome browser up, it's already kind of logged in, and so there was some integration there, but I always liked Firefox, to be truthful. I still use it on occasion.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna use it more. I'm about to dump Chrome. I don't like how it automatically launches. I keep, turning it off. It keeps turning itself back on. It's like automatically launches. I hate that. So yeah,
You might
You should
have to.
uninstall it then, and then reinstall
I will try that, and then I won't use it. But thank you. I'm gonna go to Firefox.
it.
Uh,
But did you hear about the new Chrome? What is it? 6.8, something like that. They're about to roll out, I think, in like a month or so.
No. But doesn't Chrome have an integration of a wallet also?
There's probably plugins from. I would imagine you
I
get from
think
the
I
Play
think it
Store.
is. It
it's
is in their
yeah, it's
one of their extensions. One of their
yeah,
extensions.
it's
Yeah, I mean,
Mew,
yeah.
the Mew one, the oh my god, I can't believe it skipped my mind. Oh my god,
Yeah, because I was checking
Matter
it
of
out.
fact, I want to say Lionel probably sent an email out some time ago about it.
godly, it skipped my mind. God,
That's if I recall. Yeah, it
uh,
was an email Lionel sent about it.
my Ethereum wallet. Whew,
That's it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
my
That's it.
head,
Ethereum. That's exactly it.
man, my head hurt on that one. Boy. I had to think about that one for a minute. Okay, let's go to our next article. This is from CryptoGlobe.com. Litecoin, the
Real quick,
Litecoin.
Lionel, real quick, what was that plug? What was that extension? And just in case people want to check it out, can you put it in the chat there? What was it called?
Oh, my Ethereum wallet.
My Ethereum wallet.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a Mew for short. MEW.
MEW.
Yeah,
Okay.
my Ethereum wallet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is from CryptoGlobe.com by Simic Masnavi, July 10th. Litecoin Foundation acquires 9.9% of Germany's, WEG Bank announced a strategic partnership with TokenPay. Yeah.
Wait,
Now,
they bought into a bank?
now I'm gonna I'm
Oof.
going to segue this back to our previous conversation we had like maybe 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
On Tuesday, July 10th, Litecoin Foundation announced that it had acquired blockchain startup TokenPay's original 9.9% in Germany's WEG Bank in exchange for helping TokenPay with marketing and technology. On May 9, 2018, TokenPay announced that it had closed a deal with WEG Bank. What TokenPay did on that occasion was use the proceeds of its December 2017 token sale to acquire 9.9% of the equity interest in WEG Bank, with options to acquire an additional 80.1% of the bank upon customary regulatory approval. What happened today, according to the joint press release by TokenPay and Litecoin Foundation, was that TokenPay transferred its 9.9% stake in WEG Bank to Litecoin Foundation in exchange for a broad and comprehensive marketing and technology service agreement to benefit TokenPay and its various blockchain-related initiatives, including but not limited to the TPay cryptocurrency, the eFIN decentralized exchange, and the eFIN coin, Token Suite's asset management and structured financial products, the WEG Bank fintech platform, including customer debit cards, and the TokenPay multi-signature transaction engine. That's a lot. Furthermore, TokenPay decided to acquire an additional 9.9% of WEG Bank. Okay. It was not able to buy more WEG Bank shares at the time because under German banking law, no entity can own more than 9.9% of a bank without regulatory approval. So now, TokenPay needs to wait for approval from Germany's Federal Financial Supervisory Authority, or BaFin, before it can acquire an additional 70.2% in WEG Bank that it is entitled to under its May 2018 agreement with WEG Bank. So far, just to let how I know people following, not only does TokenPay own 9.9%, but it sold its original 9.9% to the Litecoin Foundation. So now they're trying to purchase the rest 70.2% pending this approval by Germany's Federal Financial Supervisory Authority. All right, let's continue. Now that TokenPay has strategic partnerships with both Verge, XVG, and Litecoin, LTC, it will have even more potential customers for the crypto debit cards it plans to introduce in the near future. I like that. Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin and the managing director of the Litecoin Foundation, declared, and I quote, "This partnership is a huge win-win for both Litecoin and TokenPay. I'm looking forward to integrating Litecoin with the WEG Bank AG and all the various services it has to offer to make it simple for anyone to buy and use Litecoin. I'm also excited about Litecoin's support in TokenPay's ETHFin decentralized exchange." End quote. This is how Lee announced the news on Twitter. And it shows the Twitter. The founder and CEO of WEG Bank AG, Matthias von Hoff, stated, and I quote, "The partnership with innovative institutions such as TokenPay and Litecoin might at first come unexpectedly for a very conservative institution like us, but we have thoroughly and diligently examined the prospects of a common future, and we became convinced that the future of banking will make adoption of such modern payment methods inevitable. We are therefore proud to have teamed up with the best in the field." End quote. By now, you must be wondering, how did Litecoin Foundation suddenly become interested in owning 9.9% of a German bank? It sounds a bit crazy, right? Well, what is even more crazy is that the reason that Litecoin Foundation and TokenPay started talking together in the first place is Verge's partnership deal with MindGeek, better known as the owner of adult entertainment site Pornhub, which was announced on April 17, 2018. That deal only happened with the financial help of TokenPay, which at the time had an informal strategic partnership with Verge team. In fact, several days earlier, the CEO of TokenPay, Derek Capel, had sent out this tweet. Hashtag TokenPay CEO Derek Capel meeting in Munich earlier today for breakfast with key stakeholders of the German bank. A deal in principle has been agreed upon by all parties. We will provide full details at closing, but can say that TPay and XVG debit cards are likely coming soon, which I like. At first, Charlie Lee made fun of Verge's announcement and Verge's partnership deal with MindGeek. Then Capel explained why TokenPay had decided to help Verge. One, if TokenPay did not donate, the deal does not happen. Two, TokenPay has a partnership with Verge Currency for our banking solution. We are buying bank in Germany. Three, partnership between crypto is important. TokenPay also benefits in helping large community. Capel then went on to casually invite Lee to also become a strategic partner of TokenPay. Next, Capel explained to Lee how such partnership deal could help Litecoin. They key to making this all work is ecosystems, partnerships, and constant communication with regulators. Buying a bank in Germany gives us a seat at regulator table. Key, key to educating governments. As for Litecoin, we can add to our bank debit card, gift cards, etc. Lee replied, "Thanks. Let me know if there's anything I or the Litecoin Foundation can do to help." According to a report in Forbes, Maddie Greenspan, a senior market analyst and social trading platform eToro, called this partnership with TokenPay a bold move from the Litecoin Foundation and groundbreaking for the crypto industry. before going on to say that the best way to improve financial services is to integrate with them, and Germany is the perfect place to begin. All right, I'm going to tie this in with what we were discussing, I'll say 2 weeks ago, when I put out that what if some of these cryptocurrencies purchase a fully serviced brokerage firm and send a message to regulators or the governments that they're serious. So
Right.
in my personal opinion, I think this is one of those ways. This is that reenactment of what I said.
When you when you read the article title, and there was like the kind of like the little subheading below where it says they bought like a 9.9% stake in a bank. Usually it's kind of like the other way around, right? Banks are buying into these firms or investing in it through some scheme or some way, but this was the other way around. And I think, that point you made, to kind of end the article was that, are these firms trying to send a message? I think that is a firm message when you start acquiring portions of a bank.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, Dollar Will, you sent this through email to us earlier this week. What about this stood out to you? I think what was it you just sent the email out?
Yeah, yeah. You mean what is they caught my attention about it?
Mm-hmm.
Just I'm of course I'm of the minds of the opinion that the whole entire economy, global economy, is slowing down, and this is the time for mergers and acquisitions and collaborations. People may have seen that Starbucks is closing a whole lot of branches. You're just gonna hear more and more and more about things getting smaller, and banking, of course, was a trouble spot back in '07. It's a trouble spot now, so it's better to sell at the top of the market than later. So the timing is great.
Now, I also want to add on that, and I'm gonna use one of Mike's slogans. Keep in mind that the crypto market is only worth 250 billion in total. So you got these top tier coins that are buying stakes in banks when the crypto market is really low, not even what people would want to be. So when this influx of money comes into the crypto market, I just wonder what other acquisitions these top tier or even somewhat lower tier coins will make.
Well,
It's going to be interesting because Litecoin has an option. They have an option to buy. What is it, like 80 more percent,
No,
70,
it's 70.2% because the original the per German rules you can only purchase, as the article said, 9.9, but the original 9.9 token pay bought, they sold that to Litecoin, so they was now allowed to buy another 9.9%. So what's left is 70.2%.
right.
And and Litecoin had the option to buy that 70.2%.
Right, right. So Litecoin, yes, a lot of things could happen. Litecoin could buddy up with somebody else. I mean, maybe.
well, let's if you look at this industry sort of mirroring, what we've had largely as a traditional financial sector. Maybe some of the great coins, lesser valued coins, or something like that, or whatever those platforms, they'll be used as sort of like maybe vehicles for like lesser types of financial institutions, say like money transfer, like your check cashing equivalents. Trying to think of some other examples here, but maybe there is some utilization, right, for some of those mid tier platforms, and maybe even some of the like lower end. Maybe, I mean, that's the interesting thing about all this. It's too early, but if I were to like kind of look at how the traditional financial markets and how you have different businesses that serve different needs in the financial sector, I would imagine, right, like so, because for example, like type of place is typically going to be in a lower valued environment, right? Like in a community that maybe just isn't of like mid or upper class, right? Versus where you go to a upper class establishment or community, you're going to maybe find like a Barclays Bank or realty office or something like that. So I mean, I don't know, maybe it'll sort itself out in a similar manner.
Anybody else?
I got
I
another.
was
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was actually going to say when he read the article, he mentioned the guy Matty. I thought he said Matty Ghost. I was like, damn, his brother done stepped up. I think the adoption rate. I think what you're seeing right now is just the the cultivation of the crypto market, not so much as a full hog go in by most of these institutions. This has to be a delicate process because of all the regulation that's involved. And until there's some kind of economy that's going to be behind it, it's going to be hard for it to have a whole lot of adoption. One, because your major populated areas such as Africa that has 1 billion people, then you have China that has 1 billion people. Well, the regulations inside Africa is going to be different inside China because the Chinese government kind of weighs down on cryptocurrencies where they need to manage it, whereas in Africa it's pretty much an open source market. And people can kind of cultivate their own cryptocurrencies if they have the means to do so, if they have the resources to do so. The same thing goes on in Latin America. You see the adoption of the Petro or the Petro in Venezuela and Litecoin in Argentina. The adoption rate is slow because there's not really an economy behind it until you put some kind of resources behind it, until you put some kind of driving force behind it. This sort of adoption of Litecoin going into these smaller institutions and buying them out or putting stake into them, it's going to be a very slow process.
I got a question for you guys. What impact, if any, do you think it would have on the adoption of Litecoin for people that are concerned about anonymity? Once Litecoin is owning a bank and coming under additional regulations because of it, do you think people will fear their anonymity could be compromised? Because that's an attraction for a lot of people.
That's a good question. I'll have to think about that one.
Well, if they're going into a banking institution, then they're gonna have to play by some regulatory standards, and that's going to provide centralization with the main nation states that they reside into. So there's going to be some loss of anonymity, but there's also going to be a lot of adoption because it's going to be cheap to get in at least at the time of adoption. If you wait too long, then yeah, you're gonna lose out.
I would like to put this idea out there also. Now that this is a big step, like Mike said, it's in terms of the cultivation of the cryptocurrency space, but this still is a big step. And other good cryptocurrency teams are looking at this, and you have some cryptocurrency teams such as Dash, Smart Cash. These are community-driven cryptocurrency. So I wonder, okay, and I'm putting this idea out there again. If they see, if they see this, and they're saying, hey, this can be something we can do. We can maybe purchase a smaller level bank or a smaller level brokerage firm, and like you said, and to tie in, like you said, Dollar Will, when times get hard, you'll see mergers and acquisitions. And I'm just putting that idea out there.
Yeah, but I guess I'm sort of like looking at it the way Ulysses is looking at it. This is surprising. I wasn't thinking it would go this way from the cryptos buying banks.
Right.
Makes perfect sense, though. Makes perfect sense. Be truthful.
Banks are failing at this point, though. Right?
Yep.
Banks
Yep.
are failing. They can't really recover, so they're going to try to find anything they can to leverage off of in cryptocurrency.
Hey, Mike, your voice is
Yeah,
low.
I'm trying.
It's like you got some processing, some gating or something, compression.
I flipped my boom mic up because I was doing something else. But I flipped my mic back down. Can you hear me now?
Yes, let's start from the top.
No, I was just saying that the banks are failing right now. They can't hold these they can't hold themselves together because of a declining market, especially with all these tariffs being tossed around and people not having the same spending power. They're pulling their money out of banks. Banks can't lend out because not enough people are putting in. So they're going to look for any sort of opportunities to leverage their debts and their struggles. And cryptocurrencies are just the next market for them to go into.
Yeah, I can understand why a bank would want to sell. That makes sense. Right? Wanting, just getting out of it, taking the cash and sitting on the sidelines for, until the tough times end, which is probably going to be a couple of years. That makes sense from the bank standpoint. But we'll see how this plays out. Well, I mean, we know that it's going to be some cannibalization in the crypto space as well. We can't have all these daggone different coins out there. We can see that right now. It's just going to be too many daggone coins.
Mm-hmm. Well, coins and tokens are all relevant to the ecosystem that they're trying to tap into, right? So, I mean, if a Bitcoin is popular because it was the original gangster, but at the same time, the emergence of these other currencies, the emergence of these other cryptocurrencies that have other features involved in them that make it either more secure or faster to process is going to have a lot more adoption rate to it from an institution standpoint. You have these banks with all these computers that are just being underutilized. Makes it easier for them to go crank out some crypto mining and start producing their own coins or start adopting coins.
And look and think about the think about how the coins that have various values, right? You can kind of relate it. Again, I try to mirror this stuff as much as possible to our traditional financial structure, right? To make sense of it all. And so you have coins of different values, similar to how you have the different denominations within a currency, right? So you have pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and have silver dollars and everything on up to what's the largest bill they make? $100,000 bill, I think it is.
Yeah, but the difference with that, where I think the analogy works, is that I can spend all those denominations everywhere in America.
Well, with crypto, you'll be able to do this. Technically, you could do the same thing. Why couldn't you spend it?
You're talking about if you just transfer it back to Bitcoin, then spend
it. Well, the merchant has to accept that particular crypto.
No, there's ATM machines now that'll pull out the cash equivalent based on how much cash you want based on how much crypto you're holding. You got ATM machines now that are doing that stuff and spitting the cash equivalent out to you.
Yeah, I think there's a bank called Liberty Bank that has ATMs here in Boston that does
there you go.
Cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So you're saying they will give you in cash in dollars the equivalent?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the other way around. When you're spending the crypto, you can't.
That's what I was referring to earlier. Is that there has to be some kind of ecosystem behind it, behind each coin. So for example, like Overstock.com, you can buy, you can purchase things from there with Bitcoin and I think another currency. I forget the other currency.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying you can't equate a crypto with denominations of quarters, nickels, dimes, 50-cent pieces, because those are universal within this ecosystem called the United States.
I only make that analogy merely as a means to see value in lower valued cryptos.
Okay. Now, FYI, Newegg allows you to purchase things with Bitcoin also. FYI.
Who's that?
Newegg.
Newegg.com.
Oh, the computer retailer
out there.
Yeah, okay. There will be crypto losers. Okay, we'll see how it goes.
Without a doubt. There's already been some.
Yeah, shitcoins are being delisted every week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you figure once a couple of big companies like Amazon and Walmart McDonald's. You take some major places. Okay, give me a gas station like Shell or somebody. You're gonna have some big Fortune 500 corporations like that. They're gonna pick which cryptos they honor, and those are gonna be the most universally. Those are going to be the most functional. Put it that way.
Well, see the institutions in the private industries that will adopt it will have to adopt a coin or a cryptocurrency that's relevant to the purchasing power of the product being sold. So if you have a Shell gas station or an Exxon that says, "Oh, well, we accept Bitcoin," well, who's going to spend Bitcoin on gas?
I see what you're saying.
Right? They would have to buy. They would have to adopt something like Ripple that makes more sense to them.
Okay. I see what you're saying with the ecosystem. It makes more sense to whatever it's
right,
quote unquote tied to.
So you can't sell fractions of Bitcoin.
you can, but with the speculation. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Write the headline.
I said, well, you can, but with the hype speculation of Bitcoin, people may not want to readily spend fractions of the Bitcoin, knowing what they spend today will be worth, 10, 20, 50, 100 times more in the future. So I understand what Mike's saying. It will have to be a crypto that is closely tied to whatever you're going to use it to, that you don't mind spending it because, for whatever reason, because it's closely tied to that.
Yeah, but see, that just gets to it. What is it? Is it a currency or is it a speculative? It's both. It's a currency and it's an instrument of speculation.
It's
and so
I'm hearing this being referred to as an asset class.
Tomatoes. You can spend it today and get something like for it, just like any other currency. Just like other currencies we have that go up in value. You part with it to buy food, to buy the goods you want. But I understand. We're talking that some of these are going to go up much faster, but so it's like if you say that it's not that people are not likely to use it to trade to get goods and services for it, and because of the appreciation of the asset, then it loses value as a currency.
Okay.
It loses functionality as a currency. So it's going to be, if it's a currency, that means it's an instrument of trade like any other.
Well,
as well as a storehouse of value, all of it.
Also keep in mind, Dollar Will, that part of what makes the cryptocurrency go up in value is the architecture behind it too. So Ethereum, although it's undervalued in comparison to Bitcoin, the architecture behind it is a lot more efficient and a lot more future-proof than Bitcoin is on the blockchain.
So I hear what you're saying. Tell me this. When do you think that Ethereum or some other crypto, because of the advantages of these other cryptos over Bitcoin, when do you think we're going to see a new market cap leader in the Bitcoin space? I'm sorry, in the cryptocurrency space, because right now it's Bitcoin.
By first quarter 2020, you'll know where everybody stands.
So you are of the opinion that we're going to see another crypto overtake Bitcoin as the market cap leader?
I can believe that because earlier this year, Ripple overtook Ethereum for a couple of days, and I've a lot of the articles and things I read.
You mean Ethereum Classic?
No. Ripple overtook Ethereum for a couple of days. Okay. Ripple was the number 2 for a couple of days earlier this year, and with a lot of articles I read, I keep hearing, and Mike solidified this for me. I keep hearing like 2020 is the year where a lot of things going to be more firm in terms.
All right, now I want y'all to put it on the line. You think that something is going to overtake another crypto is going to overtake Bitcoin as the market cap leader?
It's all depend it's all dependent on adoption. But what the reason why we mentioned 2020 is because that's the year of the new life cycle for technology development. So every 3 to 5 years, you start to see that that new spin up for technology. And I think first quarter going into second quarter of 2020 is when you're going to start to see things balance out, including cryptocurrencies, because cryptocurrencies is going to be very dependent upon how they're mined. So if NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, and some of these other system on chip manufacturers such as Micron and some of these new ones coming out of China, their ability to mine cryptos is really going to be dependent. It's really going to make the cryptocurrency value dependent.
Well, that's only 18 months away.
Yeah,
right.
So I guess I'll take your answer as a yes. You think that yes. Bitcoin is going to lose its status as the market cap leader in the cryptocurrency space, which with that said, now you're on, somewhat on record saying you think Bitcoin is going to lose its crown. Which cryptocurrency do you think will overtake Bitcoin as the market cap leader in the cryptocurrency space?
That I cannot answer on record, but what I can say is that you probably will see more than likely a bubble pop in terms of Bitcoin itself, and then everything else will start to balance out in terms of the other top 10 cryptocurrencies, because you have other cryptocurrencies that or coins that are based around different platforms, such as gaming and movie production. I think now too. I was reading some of that, and then you have cannabis-based cryptos where they may end up either merging with another cryptocurrency, or the adoption rate may be different because of the explosion of cannabis adoption due to legalization. It's just going to be a whole lot of shaking up in the next 18 months.
Now the major reason, one of the bigger reasons why I say yes is because Bitcoin controls the market. If Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up. Bitcoin goes down, everything goes down, because everything is tied to Bitcoin. It's the trading period. You have to have Bitcoin to purchase 95% of the other coins. Now, if that breaks where you can purchase other coins via Ethereum or Ripple or even fiat money, then a lot of other cryptocurrencies will rise regardless if Bitcoin goes up or down or sideways. And you have these other 2.0 or 3.0 cryptos out, such as Ethereum and EOS respectively. You might have a 4.0 crypto that blows everybody's mind, and now you can buy that crypto with fiat. So that's why I say there is potential where Bitcoin can be overcome.
So you're saying, whereas say the US dollar is it's the base currency in the world, you're saying that Bitcoin right now functions as the base currency in the crypto space.
Yes, Bitcoin is the crypto, how am I trying to say this?
Exchange medium. So to go from one type of cryptocurrency to another, you have to go from that other cryptocurrency to Bitcoin, then buy the other one that you want.
95% of the times, yes.
And so you're saying it is that round robin kind of transfer, which is making Bitcoin the market cap leader.
Yes, it controls.
So it's not. So it's really kind of an artificial thing. It's not really support for Bitcoin. It's more structural. The way the transactions are required to happen.
Correct. Yes.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, so it's not really Bitcoin strength. It's a structural thing that they can change. If we get, so what's holding it up? A greater adoption of other coins.
Or
I think it's institution.
Okay.
I think it's the institution. So what we just talked about with Litecoin buying into that banking institution, that's where you're going to start to see the decline of depending upon Bitcoin as a exchange medium, for the marketplace.
Gotcha.
And the rest of the 5% that you can go purchase with regular fiat, if you're Bittrex, you can do it with Bittrex. That's US based, but a lot of other exchanges are in Australia or some other country that people live in the US, Canada, or some of these European places may not want to go to put their money on. So that it's a weak 5%. But as you see that break from BTC, then I truly believe that you will see other cryptos with the resolve and the gumption to overcome Bitcoin as the number one spot. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So let's get to our next RC. You know what? I like that. I like that. Sharpening our swords, as they say.
Well, you got this is you got to bringing me up to speed on the Bitcoin stuff, and I don't mind showing my ignorance on it. I'll ask the question.
Hey, and I don't mind showing my ignorance on these stocks and bonds. So yeah, this
sharpening our swords and wielding our snapbacks.
Right. As the great Ulysses say. This next, No, I'm not sharing my screen. Though it's somebody I'm gonna say this as I click on this button. Somebody on YouTube I follow, that talks about what's going on in the crypto world, and he gives good, not advice, but some of the things he say is pretty good. I'll email you his link later.
Okay.
All right. This is from CoinDesk.com. The EU's biggest ETF firm expands into crypto products. This is from Mu Yao Shin, July 5th. Europe's largest trader of exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, is now entering the crypto world. Dennis Dijkstra, co-CEO of Amsterdam-based speed trader Flow Traders NV, told Bloomberg Thursday that his firm was expanding its trading products to exchange-traded notes, or ETNs, based on Bitcoin and Ether. XBT Provider, a Stockholm-based firm that offers ETFs based on Bitcoin and Ether, confirmed that Flow Traders NV has dramatically increased its security trading over the last few months. According to Bloomberg, unlike the major U.S. trading firms currently offering cryptocurrency futures, Flow Traders is the first one to disclose its buying and selling crypto notes listed on regulated stock exchanges. In the interview, Dijkstra said, and I quote, "People underestimate crypto. It's big and it is to be regulated very soon. The market participants are much more professional than people think. Institutional investors are interested. We know they are because we get requests." End quote. While the Dutch company is moving forward in crypto trading, the country's regulators are wary of the move. Nienke Torrensma, a spokeswoman for the Dutch Authority for the Financial Markets, or AFM, said in a statement that we discourage activities in cryptos both by consumers and professional license holders. By virtue of its newness and the anonymity it potentially offers, it is very prone to abuse. Given its inability to serve the promised purpose as a currency, we don't regard it to be an asset class, she continued. CoinDesk reported in March that the country's finance minister, Wopke Hoekstra, issued a letter to Parliament to urge for an international approach to regulate cryptos. All right. Who wants first crack at this one?
I'll just say, yeah, this is what we were talking about. This is the big volume push that's gonna drive cryptos to these levels, these crazy levels that everybody is projecting. I believe it. I'm buying it. I don't think it's hype. To making it into a ETN or ETF will just make it too easy for people to buy it, and the volume is going to multiply by huge factors. Probably, I don't even want to guess it. It's going to be much greater volume traded than the time when Bitcoin ran up to 20K. And the thing that kind of excites me about it is that the financial world is responding, sort of like it feels like they're moving, at breakneck speed to try to get these vehicles in place before Bitcoin hits this bottom. Because this it's not at the bottom. It's going to fall some more, a good amount more, and it's good to see that the institutions are getting everything ready for people to easily trade this.
Okay. Anybody else? Oh, all right. So we can go.
Well, let me ask you guys. Is it the people just for everyone on this panel? Are you likely to buy Bitcoin or not Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency in a ETN or ETF, or will you continue to buy it directly as you have?
Me, I would think I will. The bulk of my purchases will be directly, but a small portion will be through ETN/ETF.
So even though the speed of the transaction will be faster, and you won't have to probably not have to go through that middle step of going to Bitcoin then to the other thing, that and just the flexibility to be able to go from cryptocurrency to say Apple or whatever, that wouldn't drive you off of the cryptocurrency exchanges.
I understand what you're saying. I will still do it directly with the exchanges, but the ability to go in and out between the two worlds, the crypto and the traditional markets, that is a good carrot. But since I guess I'm so used to, as of right now, I won't say right now, I guess I'm so used to dealing with the exchanges, the crypto exchanges, I will have to really see how the the regulated exchanges work.
Yeah. What about you, Mike? How will it affect your trading of cryptos? I mean, will it be enough to get you off of a crypto exchange and back to a more traditional brokerage?
No, because I think you're actually I think you're looking at it from a different perspective. So those ETFs would be for people who just want to invest, and the people who mine cryptos and who buy cryptos directly from the marketplace are holding it for the value that they're able to sell it later, or they're going to use it to buy other things for their own personal reasons. Buying an ETF wouldn't be the same. You would just be investing into the crypto itself, but not actually trying to spend it.
Gotcha.
There's no real marketplace now to just go out and willy-nilly just spend Bitcoin. It's now you can go to Best Buy and actually buy a flat screen TV with some kind of crypto, then yeah, it's going to make a lot of sense for you to use the marketplace to make your purchases of cryptos. Because let's say, for example, Best Buy decided that they had some an 80-inch refurbished flat screen TV, but you can only buy it with some form of crypto, like a Bitcoin or something like that. That's where you're going to see the adoption of going out and saying, okay, well, I don't need an ETF. I just need the actual coin itself.
Okay, well, let me ask you the same question, kind of a different way. For the people that are concerned about the health of the U.S. dollar, and they don't want to have their money in the U.S. dollar, and they feel more comfortable being in a cryptocurrency. Do you think people that are primarily into crypto for that reason, do you think that they will? I guess no. I just answered my question, because when you buy the ETF, that is a U.S. dollar denominated instrument, right? You're buying an ETF in U.S. dollars, which represents or mirrors the movement of a crypto. So you still have a U.S. dollar based. You purchase the investment with U.S. dollars, so you don't you own the movement of a crypto without really owning the cryptocurrency.
Right. And the thing is, if you can afford to get into it, you're not really worried about what's going to happen to the fiat currency anyways, because you can afford to get into it. The people who can't afford to get into it are the ones scratching their heads saying, what do I do next?
Right.
Now, Mike, you said something interesting, and I'm gonna throw this idea out there with the Best Buy example. What if these brick and mortar stores and companies that are closing stores left and right, what if they see cryptocurrency as a last hurrah or a last savior and say, well, we're going to change our approach. So instead of quickly going out of business or quickly shutting down all these stores, we're going to say, well, we accept Bitcoin or Ethereum or Ripple to help save their company.
It wouldn't be so much as saving the company, but it'd be what they're going to gain in the long run. So if people are willing to dump their Bitcoin into their marketplace, then that's what they're going to try to hold on to, because they know that there's a whole lot of people hodling, so to speak, on their cryptos. So they won't, instead of them going out and mining the crypto, they'll just basically say, well, we accept this, and you dump it on us, and then the value is going to shoot up for them. And the 20,000 Bitcoins that they just received over the weekend for Black Friday or Cyber Monday, that looks better for Best Buy's shareholders.
Yeah, and I read an article, I meant to send it out, that 40% of all Bitcoin in existence is held by 1,000 people. So
wow.
1,000 people hold 40%.
John McAfee is one of them.
Yep. It's an article about Bloomberg. I'm gonna have to look it back. I meant to send that out, but I got caught up with a lot of other things. But yeah, 40% of the Bitcoin in existence held by 1,000 people.
Well, if you have 1,000 people holding 40%, that's pretty much guaranteeing that you're going to have serious price escalation, because the rest of the world is fighting over just 60% of the thing.
Well, not all 60% is out. Only a certain number of Bitcoin is in circulation.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to find.
So that's 40% of the amount that's in circulation right now.
Yes.
It's held by 1,000 people.
Yeah, and I'm gonna share. I just found. I'm gonna share the screen.
John McAfee, Max Kaiser, Matty Ghost.
Right. And the Winklevoss twins own 1% of all Bitcoin right now. And this is the article about Bloomberg. Bitcoin whales, 1,000 people who own 40% of the market. Do you all want me to read it or just no?
No, I think you should post it in the description, and we'll come back to it during the open mic section.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. And actually, it was another article where because this stuff can be lost and never recovered. So if you don't know your private keys and your computer shut down and hard drive fail, you just SOL. That's 200-300 Bitcoin that's lost. So that finite number of Bitcoin is now less than what can be in existence.
Let me ask you a basic question. How many wallets can you have?
A lot. However many you can control.
Gotcha. So if someone set up a wallet, they don't remember their key, their private key, and there was no money in it, they can just make another wallet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that was it.
All right. Our next article, or any other points from the last topic?
Nope.
All right. This one comes from CoinDesk.com. FINRA wants to know all about member firms' crypto activities. This is by Wolfie Zhao, July 9th. A U.S. self-regulatory body. And I want to say this is not financial advice. This is our personal opinion. If you want financial advice, go to cfp.net and type in your zip code and the city you're in, and you'll find a certified financial planner in your area to help you on your financial matters.
What's that website again?
CFP.net.
Okay, great.
Yeah, okay. All right. A U.S. self-regulatory body for broker-dealers is requesting member firms to submit a wide range of details relating to their cryptocurrency-focused activities. In a regulatory notice issued on Friday, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, or FINRA, said the requested information will supplement its existing efforts to ascertain the extent of its member firms' involvement in the nascent space. According to the notice, FINRA wants to know if a member firm has been or will be trading cryptocurrency, accepting it from customers, managing pooled crypto fund, participating in a token sale, or offering advice on any crypto related topic. Also, notably, cryptocurrency mining, earning rewards for participating in a node in a blockchain to record transactions, or any other use of blockchain technology are areas that FINRA has indicated interest in for its monitoring purpose. The organization went on to say, and I quote, until July 31st, 2019, each firm is encouraged to keep its regulatory coordinator updated if it or its associated persons or affiliates begins or intends to be engaging in a new type of activity relating to digital assets not previously disclosed. End quote. Authorized by the U.S. Congress in 2007, FINRA was incorporated as a self-regulatory organization with the remit to approve and supervise broker-dealers in the country. Although the new regulatory notice is not mandatory, it follows FINRA's existing efforts to scrutinize member firms and amid rising concerns of fraud and other securities law violations involving digital assets, FINRA said in the notice. Last year, the body issued a warning to retail investors to remain cautious after the number of public companies saw spiking stock prices following claimed blockchain and cryptocurrency pivots. I remember that it was I think a company that made tea. They changed their name to something something blockchain, and their stock went up.
Right. Um. Yeah. That's FINRA. They're self-regulatory, as the article says, so that hoping to not get that get more regulation to show that they can be good and look after themselves. And I believe those organizations already have to disclose their stock trading, so they're treating cryptos like another asset.
Mm.
It's good stuff.
Interesting. Any other points on that one?
Nope.
Shout outs to Anti-Gravity for joining us once again.
Oh, anti.
Oh, sorry, I had to step out for a little bit.
I
Nah,
know
I
she
came
was
back.
calling you, man. She was calling you, man.
Wait,
what was
what was that like?
I said she was
What'd you
calling
say?
you.
Yeah, he's 20. He's 20. He's 23, guys. He got a lot going on.
He coughed, caught him up.
Man, you got me there. I'm just gonna listen for a little bit because I don't know where you guys are at right now.
Just say what's on your mind, money wise, crypto wise.
With crypto, currently I'm looking at a new crypto blockchain. It's called BitShare. It's not based on Ethereum, and it's not based off of Bitcoin blockchain. They're completely separate. And I've seen some of the companies that have built on top of that blockchain,
Not
and I
too
think
many
it's
details.
spectacular. Yeah. I know. But I'm just saying in general.
All right.
But yeah,
So
definitely take a look at it.
Cool.
no doubt.
Offline. Talk about it offline.
All right. Now, this next article comes from Engadget. This is by Molly Locklear. She's trying to be like a Homegirl Molly Jane Zuckerman. Pusha T's Hair app lets users vote on hip hop tracks. It's from 10 hours ago. All right. Pusha T is making moves in the tech world, announcing a new app he's working on called Hair. With Hair, users will be able to vote on hip hop tracks, upvoting them with the free emoji
Is that
or,
like heir apparent kind of thing?
yeah, I believe so.
Why
Yeah.
would he call it? Why would he call it that? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Why would he call it that?
Rap, man. It's rap. It's rap.
Right.
It's a ranking. It's a rank,
Upvoting
like a ranking.
yeah, upvoting them with a fire emoji or downvoting them with a skull and crossbones. Voters can also earn a digital currency called Crown. Upvoting a track that turns out to be popular can can you earn what? Can earn you Crown. For example, while upvoting one that's a flop with other users could cause you to lose it. The team behind Air C Crown. Okay, the team behind Air C Crown is a major driving force in the app. On the Air's website, it says Crown can be cashed out for real money or for rewards that money can't buy. It it also says the currency can be used to gain exclusive access to an artist's events, and that artist on the air can use Crown to get voters or other artists to listen to and provide feedback on their tracks. Crown powers a supply of Crown powers a supply of rewards limited only by air communities collective imagine. What? Crown
It's an ecosystem coin.
yeah. I'm kind of getting lost because air, and I'm seeing there when I see air.
Oh,
Crown powers a supply of rewards limited only by the air community's collective imagination, says the site. With this app, Pusha T follows in the footsteps of other tech-minded recording artists such as Dr. Dre and will.i.am. Fans and artists can sign up for early. Blah, blah. Okay, this cryptocurrency Crown. When I read it, I'm like, wait, I know what that is. Crown has a masternode component, and they got actually two masternode components, like one masternode Crown Light and Crown Major. So like the other article from Fenrir said, if you take part in the node, copying the blockchain, but crowns Crowns, I'm just showing this to people. What's this? Okay, this is Crowns master nodes. You can go on master nodes online. Look at their how much you can earn with their master nodes. But also this is Crown's website, and like I said before, you have these community-driven cryptocurrencies that say, hey, like they see what Litecoin has done, so they're pushing their community to do other things. So now you got Crown, which is a community coin, and they're doing this, with the rap. So, what just to hit on what we talked about earlier, you're going to see other community coins or coins push forward with this type of things. It's community driven stuff. So that's all I want to say. Any comments on this? Am I still online?
Yeah, you're still
Yeah, you're
on.
still
Okay.
No, I just saw it. I just see it as an ecosystem coin. I mean, there's a lot of application, especially in the music industry. But yeah,
I think this is a step in the right direction. Although I wish hip hop artists would have started adopting this stuff back in the early 2000s. In terms of authentication of music, because we don't really control our music anymore, our content anymore. There was a time in hip hop when if something was whack, it just didn't come out at all. Record labels would never release a whack record. And it was very rare that you would hear something that's whack and you would actually go out and buy it. Now everybody just drops whack music and it seems to go platinum no matter what. And who knows who's really buying this stuff? But if you had a voting system, a more democratic system, you would probably see less and less music come out that was whack because people would just keep downvoting it.
I know
I thought that. Oh, go ahead, Ulysses.
I was just gonna say, I know like that DTube platform that runs on Steemit is sort of like the same thing. It's like a YouTube video platform, but it's kind of like based on like an upvote or downvote democratic type of vote structure. So similar to that. Yeah.
You know, if they could get like, you know, if Jay-Z got behind it and pumped the crypto through his music service, yeah, there you go. Yeah, that could be something.
Really, SoundCloud should have taken that up, because at one point, you know, they were like the place for new artists to, you know, start up, and you know, basically it was free before they started adding the premium features now. But if they would have did something like this, I think they would have been able to get the funding that they needed, and, you know, they wouldn't be so cash strapped like they are now.
Yeah, no, that's true, because I mean, without doing something like this, I really can't see a feasible way that something like a platform like SoundCloud makes money.
Unless it's do massive advertising campaign.
Oh man,
you have to constantly listen to every ad before, you know, the next track comes on and after the next track comes off. So
yeah, you're gonna have to try to beat Spotify at that game.
Well, that's what they tried a little bit, but the only problem is for them is, you know, once you get something for free, you're not gonna want to pay for it, right? So for a very long time, you know, it was free for, you know, people to listen, to upload, both for creators and you know, listeners. And then later on, when they tried to add, you know, like kind of like a $5 a month kind of deal, people didn't really want to do it, right?
Yeah, that's going to be tricky. We'll see how that goes. I remember when, you know, hey, I'm a way back, brother, from when Napster first came out.
I remember that.
A lot of folks were, you know, of course, you know, pirating music. But even in that time period, there was still some artists that, you know, I know a lot of my friends, you know, getting the free music. There were some artists we felt so loyal to that we said, no, I'm going to buy it. Now, I don't know what that number is right now, you know, what the critical mass is, you know, how many people feel like that right now, you know.
Not many. I mean, I you know, I'll echo that sentiment, because largely, you know, I was a vinyl collector, so, you know, I would download stuff for the sake of being able to have the MP3 file on hand, right?
Right.
But if left up to me, I always wanted everything on vinyl, you know. Right. So if I found it on vinyl, I'd buy it, you know. But that was me. Now I think in today's time, everybody's Spotify and YouTube and everything else, they're not really accustomed to buying music.
Right.
So I mean, you know, yeah. There's that
yeah, I think we have an entire, you know, approaching, you know, someone that say, I say their entire record buying life, somebody that's, you know, they may have been 25 now, they, you know, or 23 for the last 10 years. That's probably the normal record buying age, that they never bought a CD. Yeah. They've been in the music subscription ever since then. I've stopped buying CDs. I've been I'm on Rhapsody. I've been on Rhapsody for a long time, probably 10 years by now.
But also, you have to take a look at people don't really buy albums. It's more singles driven nowadays, right?
Right.
So I'm not gonna want to buy the entire Drake album when I can get the one song that I like or whatever, for example.
You say you're not gonna what? Who?
I'm not getting the Drake album. I'm telling you, Scorpio is trash.
Don't. You know, it's yeah, dude. He already got exposed for the rapper that he is, dude. Don't give him any more money.
Well, you don't like him? What happened?
He served his ass up, dude.
I'm an
Well,
old
I
dude.
think
The only rapper that kind of shows up on our radar is Kendrick Lamar. That's all we know. Okay, listen to him.
Go ahead, Mike.
no, I was just gonna say that we live in a fast food economy, a more junk food type of economy, especially when it comes to hip hop. So we eat and digest, crappy music, which is why these artists are getting by. If you go back to early '90s, when it was about the spitters, the heavy bar spitters, you couldn't launch an album like Drake or Little
No
Uzi
way.
Vert. None of those guys could ever get into the industry or get their album off the ground. Those albums would be pushed back by the record label, and they probably would never see the light of day.
They never see the light of day? You know how many artists I can tell how many friends I had that were signed like back in the way back in the day, and never they had like maybe like a promo come out, right? And as soon as that promo failed to catch, dude, that was it. It was like that quick, you know. So
If you,
these cats
if you
nowadays are giving way too much leeway.
yeah, if you listen to Wu Tang's
Oh,
double
Triumph.
CD, if you
Triumph.
listen
Oh
right,
man.
right, right, and if you listen to the intro,
Shit.
they said they're tired of these Dr. Seuss, Mother Goose, Cat in a Hat type rappers. They were talking about the whack MCs that are playing today.
Pharmaconically, Socrates.
Damn.
Nah,
No, but there
possibly
there are some good
perfectly
ones. You know what I
perform
mean?
armed robberies, feed with the lottery, possibly. Man,
Sorry, I
that
can't hear you
Triumph.
right now.
Nah,
He's over there rapping, dude.
man, that hey, Anti, have you heard Wu Tang's Triumph?
Triumph. No, I don't think I heard that song.
Oh, shit. School them. Somebody school
So,
them.
and come on, dude. You do your YouTube homework. I'm gonna send it to you in an email right now.
No,
Well, you have to
isn't
keep in mind that album is about as old as Noah, anyways.
Yeah, I was gonna say it probably is older.
no, I have listened to Wu Tang. It's just that I don't know all of the names. Yeah.
I thought you would tell me as they came out with something new.
I'm about to listen to Wu Tang after this, man.
Wu Tang? No, they have a new album. I think it's not new. It was just never released. I think it's already out.
I thought didn't
the one that Martin Shkreli by.
Didn't Tribe Called Quest come to put a new one out a couple of weeks ago?
Thank you for your service. Thank you. Is it? We'll take it from here. Thank you for your service, or something like that. It's a good album.
Oh, okay.
Though, man. But anyway, let's get back on track. Yeah. Okay. I'm using the article as a segue
talking music
to the traditional stock market, and I'm just inputting it in there. I saw it earlier. This is from CNBC by Liz Moyer. Winklevoss Cryptocurrency Exchange nabs NYSE's tech chief. Gemini Trust, which they own, the cryptocurrency exchange founded by brothers Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss, named NYSE's top technology executive to be the first chief technological officer. Another sign the Wild West digital currency sector is moving more mainstream. Robert Cornish was NYSE's chief information officer, a role that oversaw the big board's ongoing electronic trading overhaul. He joins Gemini later this month, according to the company's announcement, where he will take over technology initiatives. A wave of Wall Street executives have jumped to digital currency startups this year, giving the sector, once considered a fringe movement, added legitimacy. Former Goldman Sachs executive Richard Kim became the chief operating officer of Mike Novogratz Galaxy Digital, CNBC reported earlier this year. And Michael Buscella left Goldman for Black Tower Capital, a crypto firm founded by former Goldman Vice President Matt Gaetz. At Gemini, Cornish will ensure that Gemini continues to deliver the best platform experience to our customers as possible and set the standards of excellence for the cryptocurrency industry as a whole. Tyler Winklevoss, Gemini CEO, said in a statement. Gemini recently won New York State regulatory approval to offer Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin for trading and custody, and is the first to receive a New York license for trading in Zcash, which is a anonymity coin, another cryptocurrency. All right, so who wants this one? Am I still on?
Yep, he's still on. More of the same.
Yeah, this is march towards it being more and more mainstream.
Yeah, I agree with that. That you succinctly put that very well, Dollar Will. They are here.
They are here. That's right.
But if they were able to snatch an the New York Stock Exchange IT chief, that's very serious because among the global exchanges for stock trading, the New York Stock Exchange is the biggest, the largest, and has the greatest amount of volume. So
yeah, well, I'll say this: the real chart readers are in the game now. Okay, when this thing hits the bottom, the real money is here. It's here, buddy.
You ain't never lied.
So you mean they are the HMIC?
This money gonna come in like you want, like nobody's business. So people need to be, have their finger on the trigger.
Well, wait. I mean, I thought we triggered. I thought the whole Deutsche Bank layoff was what kind of signaled that this was about to take shape. This was maybe like a month ago?
In terms of what? You mean people getting in or trying to buy up Bitcoin and that kind of stuff? Or
the traditional banking sector arriving into the crypto sector?
Not yet.
No?
Not yet.
You don't think that well, this is what Dollar Will was just saying, like they're here.
I'm saying they're here. I'm saying
they got signals in?
Yeah, they're here. Whether that signal
I agree with you, Dollar Will.
They got their finger on the trigger, buddy.
No. I mean, in terms of, they're waiting for more favorable terms because they're predicting like a downturn, in the Bitcoin market, and then when it hits the bottom or very close to the bottom, that's when they're going to swoop in. Because I don't think it's bottomed out yet.
Right. No, it's not bottomed out. But what I'm saying is they've already they endorse cryptocurrency. They're getting their institutions set up to be able to make quick transactions when you start talking about ETNs and ETFs and things like that, because they don't want to deal with these crypto exchanges. Okay, they're going to want it to function like any other currency, so the next shoe I'm expecting to drop is I'm waiting for some Forex company. Okay, because it's a currency. It really belongs with the currencies. It belongs on those Forex with those Forex pairs. That's where this stuff belongs. It's a currency.
Right.
So I'm waiting to see, Forex.com, or what's the big one that doesn't that Americans aren't on, but it's big in Europe, FXCM. I'm waiting to hear something from from those companies, because they quote the Bitcoin prices on their exchanges. You can pull up charts for it and everything. You just can't trade it there.
Right. Do you think that? I think if they could, they would have already done it. But I think they have more of a challenge of doing it than stock exchanges, because for them it's intergovernmental banking or institutions. So unless they're already working on some stuff in the background and just waiting for approval, I think that's the more likely scenario. They have to get some kind of consensus before they start doing it.
You could be right, but I'm going to tell you, I expect every week we're going to hear something new. We're going to hear something new, because I do not believe that it's going to take. Yes, I do believe Bitcoin has a significant amount to go further, at least 50% from here, at a minimum.
You heard it here, folks. Okay. Every week.
Now,
every week.
With that said, I do not think it's going to take long to get there. I think we're not going to be at Labor Day talking about when is Bitcoin going to hit the bottom. It will have already happened. I think it's going to move real fast.
So get your crowns. No, I don't mean that physically, but get your crown tokens. So when Pusha T airs, get your master knows. You heard it here, folks. Every week.
Now, this is just entertainment,
Yeah.
Speak to your financial advisor.
Right.
Screw that, Lennon. If you're gonna tell people to do that, man, I think these folks need to kick you down with a little something.
Yeah.
No, I think some people may be looking at this from a different perspective. They're looking at the cryptocurrencies as just a physical or virtual asset, and instead of looking at it from the exchange medium, right? So the Swift system is a dying system. It just can't keep up with cryptocurrencies anyway. So you would have to adopt a new system. And before these institutions can actually get on the cryptocurrency, they would have to get off the Swift too.
Okay. Explain this to me. We can
Take your time.
we can incorporate blockchain technology to fix the problems with the Swift system, right?
No, you would get rid of the Swift system altogether. That's where XRP comes in.
Okay, tell me this: is it possible to merge fiat currency with blockchain technology?
Not exactly. No, it's not that they're incompatible, but there are inefficiencies in between the two. There would be no real reason to have it because the whole purpose of the blockchain
They would just
technology,
replace fiat currencies because fiat currencies are just fiat anyway.
right? And the fiat is tied in with the Swift, so there's no real reason to actually keep it. And to my understanding of this, so that's why you see places like Russia trying to bring in their new alternative to the Swift system to get away from the dependency on the dollar itself, to get rid of the dollar and get rid of the system.
If you want to see a good model, I would say look at Sweden, or maybe even China a little bit, but Sweden, they're almost cashless society.
Okay,
I think that's what they want to move towards.
Here's where it falls apart for me. I'm not buying this crap about the dollar is fiat. As though crypto is not. It's fiat currency too.
No, we agree. We agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so when I talk about blockchain technology would be an improvement over the Swift system, and we already have the money printing mechanism. Okay, the Bureau of Engraving. Okay, we got the technology to make currency that's hard to counterfeit.
But that's exactly the point. It's why try to keep the paper fiat currencies and then combine it with blockchain when
it's not efficient.
Like they could have the Bureau of Blockchain Authentication or something like that, right? Where they skip that step entirely.
Centralization of decentralization.
I hear what you said. You know what? I hear you, but I think it's going to be a while for the answer is for psychological reason. I understand people. We have this idea that when I'm holding the money in my hand, it's safe.
Yeah, I agree.
But the money really is. There's no there. I get that, but it's gonna be a while before, as a species, we catch up to the idea that money in your hand is not money in your hand.
No, not
I'd
really.
I'd say 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
I'd say 15 to 20 years. That's it.
Well, a lot of people already use a form of digital currency. They use a debit card. You know how many people buy stuff online, buy it on Amazon, all that? They didn't use cash.
As soon as strippers.
Oh yes, but that's a supplement to the hard currency in hand. You talking about eliminating it.
You know what I was going to say. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Lena. What are you going to say?
No, go ahead, Mike.
No, what I was saying was that there are two putting the physical dollar from the Federal Reserve onto a blockchain is an inefficiency in itself. The whole purpose of the blockchain is for decentralization. If you're taking a centralized currency and trying to place it onto a decentralized platform, it doesn't make any sense. It's counterproductive.
So, do
So
you
I have to
what-
disagree with that point, Mike, because you can also have centralized blockchains as well. I think that's
you
what they
you-
want to do is have a centralized blockchain, not a decentralized
you-
one, because they're a government, so
Yeah, see,
they don't want to
some-
lose control.
Right, that's where I'm going. Some entities care about the decentralization part, but governments don't.
Yeah, but what I'm saying here is that when you're talking about using a blockchain or something like XRP, and then you have something like Facebook, who I'm not a fan of, they have 2 billion users. They're an ecosystem within themselves. They don't actually need the physical dollar for anything.
Yep.
Again, you're
I
talking about
agree.
Facebook. I'm talking about, okay, are you going to feel
Yeah,
comfortable?
what I'm saying-
Are you going to feel comfortable with your employer paying you in cryptos, digital currency, or are you
That's-
going to want dollars?
That's what Walmart is doing right now. They've been speculating about this for the last 6 months about how to compensate their employees with this whole $15 an hour minimum wage hike. Just give them fractional Bitcoins as a compensation.
When it moves to actual factual and not theory, then we'll see how the workers take that. Are they going to have an option to receive dollars, or are they going to?
I don't know where they are in the process. I think there's a pilot program going on internally. But what I'm saying is there's already thoughts of adopting the cryptocurrency as a way to compensate people. So
But wait, I think
what I'm
there's
saying
already working. I think there's already working models of ATM machines in these boxes. I think it's like a dash box or something like that.
Yes,
Where-
No. Here's the thing. There's two problems. One is that, cryptocurrencies in general right now, they're not stable, right? So that's the one thing that is going to be needed for, because of the volatility. And the second is kind of what Dollar Will mentioned, which is that, adoption. But the only thing is the adoption is actually going to be much faster than it was before, right?
Exactly.
I'd say it's going to take one generation, so 15 to 20 years, because a lot of the kids that are growing up now, a lot of them, don't even have interactions with money, like physical, dollars, as much as my generation or even older did. So for them, it's not going to be it's going to be easier switch.
See, no, I
Right.
can accept that. That makes.
98%.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to
Go
make this quick statement. 98% of the millennials in China use WeChat. They've never seen the physical yuan
Exactly.
currency.
Right. That's true too.
And I'd like to add on to that plate. With this other technology coming in, such as automation, you got self-driving cars. Who are you going to pay? With Uber, you pay through the app, so everything is still going digital anyway. So this is, I'm just saying to say this.
Well, I want to piggyback on what Noah was saying. I think I can buy his picture of the future, a 15 to 20 year, but it seemed like it would also make sense to again have blockchain technology with fiat currency to like get the back end straight, get the back end working, and let people have their physical dollars, and then you kind of 15 years, that's enough time to wean people off of it. Because people will be using it in these other arenas, probably like Amazon and Walmart, and then maybe 10 years down the road, people are going to be saying, "Well, what's the big deal? Hurry up!"
Right? Yeah, that's a plausible argument.
So you saying
I agree.
can coexist?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was going to say.
Right. They'll probably. It depends. Well, we'll see what they actually do, but. Seeing how governments are very careful, they don't want to upset things. They want to move slow, at a glacial pace if they can.
Which is
that'll
good.
probably be the case where they, have an intermediary between, before they go full digital, which is very likely. But if there are forces outside of their control that forces them to go full digital, that's also a possibility.
Well, I was going to say, I think that's typically how it's going to work, right? Because I think, your tech companies largely are who is going to press. So I can't really see government dragging its feet that much. I think you're going to, because you can already transact with it now. I mean, there's guys that have bought Lamborghini. So, I mean, mean, it's not as if people aren't already using it. The way I see it is the more retail establishments that accept cryptocurrency, the more commonplace it'll become, because more people will say, well, look, if I can spend this here, then you know what? I'll take some of that. Sure. So I can spend it.
Right. But you also have to keep in mind, it will be a little bit different for the U.S. For a lot of, the developing countries, they're going to skip over all of that directly into straight digital because, for example, a lot of African countries have, mobile digital, not currencies, but exchanges where they can, transfer money through their phones. And China has WeChat. So they kind of skipped over debit cards and credit cards. There's really no such thing. They do have it, but rarely anyone uses it. So, but for the U.S., since it's such a large economy and the financial interests are so strong, Dollar Will's, picture he painted is maybe more so what's going to happen, unless the U.S. collapses or something like that. That's probably how it's going to, incrementally go into it.
You see like adoption of mainstream adoption of cryptocurrency predicated upon the collapse of the United States?
No. I meant like I'm saying if the U.S. remains stable for the next 50 years or so, then it's going to be like a gradual shift, more like how Dollar Will was saying. But I'm saying if there's a collapse, then the new system will come on much quicker, right? There won't need to be a gradual, phasing in. And then for the developing countries, they really don't have that infrastructure already, hindering them, the restrictions, the regulations, all that kind of stuff. So they'll be able to leapfrog into straight digital far quicker, if that makes sense.
I tell you what will help. What'll help is when we get like something basic, like to ease people into it. Get the like the Apple Pay and the peer-to-peer stuff. Get that stuff working where you can go to the grocery store, go to the gas station, and once you start paying for your groceries and your gas in your car, with where you're not physically holding the money and you're don't even have a debit card, you just got an app on your phone. Once we get to that and people get used to that, it's game over, because you're going to pay your mortgage, your utility bills, your groceries, and the gas in your car. Once you do all of that without touching a credit card or debit card, it's over.
All right, I want to draw attention to this. This is a LitePay coin, and I'm not saying you all know what I'm not saying, but it's the integration part, which is down here. LPC is intended for contactless phone payments through point of sale terminals and ATMs. Medium of exchange start using LPC as a new method for payment or exchange for goods and services in 2 simple steps. And down here, LPC ecosystem, as Mike pointed out earlier, includes 5 major components: LPC and NFC, LPC and Comfort. Where NFC, technology that contactless payments through the phone payment. Comfort, your smartphone can replace one or more bank cards, performing the functions of both the phone and mobile wallet. Facilities, you can pay for travel and any public transport. Peer-to-peer transactions and cash. The main function is to exchange LPC for dollars or euros. And added benefits, it has a mass node component, and the co-founder is Damon Bryan, which you can actually click on and go to his LinkedIn profile. So I'm just, yeah, they're trying to do it.
I was gonna say, I knew there's somebody there. Everyone's out there thinking of a use and an application. Like I said, I'm seeing this stuff to largely mirror your modern current day financial system and a cryptocurrency environment. And you're going to see all of these guys coming up with, coming up with ideas and being solution providers.
Yeah, man, I could see us with a you have a Visa card, and it's got like crypto and fiat. A crypto linked to a crypto and a fiat.
Just like
That's what Coinbase is going for.
Yeah, just like the article
Wow.
and to big back for that, just like the article we read earlier, Token Pay with the debit cards. They said the Token Pay debit card and Verge. I think they said the Verge debit card.
So, Mike, can you explain that about Coinbase? What you just said?
Coinbase, I think we talked about this maybe a week or so, maybe two weeks or so ago, about adopting more crypto currencies. I just read the news a few minutes ago that they're adopting 5 new cryptocurrencies into their platform, as well as the idea of going into a banking structure where you can actually use utilize a debit card as well as and have cryptos on the same card.
That'll speed it up. Wow. Because at that point, you never touch either one. You're not touching the fiat, you're not touching the crypto, but you're walking out the store with the product.
There you go.
So it's not going to matter at that point.
Well, the more cash.
Like I said, it's a psychological hurdle that we're going to have to get over. But once it gets to this point where you're talking about it's all on a debit card, that feels like what we've already been using, then that adoption could happen pretty quickly. That comfort level could happen pretty quickly.
Well, how long did it take for people to go from using the TSR-80 or TSR-80 to using Fruity Loops?
Oh, okay.
What are those two?
Those are instruments.
Yeah,
those are instruments. So like a physical organ keyboard to just moving your mouse around and making beats.
Right. I think it'll happen quicker than that. There's some people that really held out, man, in the hardware world. Well, music production. Yeah.
I mean, you got people claiming to be DJs now just by spinning MP3s. I mean, no more vinyl. I mean, what happened? I mean,
right. They're not even. Wait. Did you say spinning or pushing buttons on their laptop? Well, how can you spin an MP3?
No. Pushing buttons on their phone.
They got this.
You can buttons on our phone now.
Yeah, yeah, man. You can spin. You can
software.
We're DJing on our phones now.
You can, man. You can.
Okay, all right. Let me mute.
They scratching, man. They scratching. See, Ulysses is making my point. I think, Mike, that crypto adoption would happen faster than the music entertainment.
I'm in awe that DJs are DJing with their phones now.
Yeah,
I'm a vinyl guy, but hey,
well, DJs are DJing without touching anything. They're jumping up and down.
Right.
So,
they're using their minds. Is that what we're doing now?
No, it's like a playlist on iTunes, and they're jumping up and down. Have you seen those EDM concerts? Their hands are up. I'm like, what are you doing?
Dude, let me mute again.
There are a whole lot of sticky iPhone screens out there.
For various reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's continue so we can get to after hours, because I feel it's gonna be funny. This is from BusinessInsider.com by Bob Bryan. It's from June 10th. Trump kicked the trade war off with China. Kicked the trade war with China to high gear. Okay. Trump administration has released. This is a longer read. The Trump administration has released a gargantuan list of Chinese goods that will be subject to tariffs, kicking a burgeoning trade war into high gear. The new 10% tariffs will apply to a huge amount of items, including seafood and other fresh goods, according to the list released by U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer. As a result of China's retaliation, the introduction of tariffs on $34 billion worth of U.S. imports, and failure to change its practices, the president has ordered the U.S. Trade Representative, or USTR, to begin the process of imposing tariffs on 10% on an additional $200 billion of Chinese imports, Lighthizer said. The tariffs are in addition to Trump's 25% tariffs on 50 billion worth of Chinese goods. Tariffs on the first 34 billion worth of goods went into place on Friday. The second round, which will apply to around 16 billion worth of Chinese goods, is set to be imposed in the coming weeks. The second round will be derived from a list already released by the U.S. Trade Representative. The release of the 200 billion list is perhaps the most concrete step toward an all-out trade war with China and triggers a formal process to implement the tariffs. The next step comment period during which businesses and consumers can raise issues with the inclusion of certain goods on the list. This is an appropriate response under the authority of Section 301 to obtain the elimination of China's harmful industrial policies, Leitzer said in his statement. USTR will proceed with a transparent and comprehensive public notice and comment process prior to the imposition of final tariffs, as we have for previous tariffs. The developments mean roughly half of all Chinese imports to the U.S. will be subject to increased duties. The move was immediately attacked by industry groups and trade experts who warned that the back and forth tariffs will increase costs for consumers and discourage investments by businesses into a new hiring and equipment. These decisions, in turn, will slow down the U.S. economy. I think I pointed that one out weeks ago. Yeah, David Finch, the senior vice president for government relations at the National Retail Federation, said that the majority of the pain from the new tariffs will fall on U.S. consumers and families. The latest list of 200 billion of products to be subject to tariffs against China doubles down on a reckless strategy that will boomerang back to harm U.S. families and workers, French said. The threat to the U.S. economy is less about a question of if and more about when and how bad. Jay Timmons, the president and CEO of the National Association of Manufacturers, or NAM, also expressed displeasure with Trump's announcement. The last thing America's manufacturing workers need is an escalating trade war, Timmons said in a statement. I feel like Nagone about to come in for some reason. Timmons said in a statement, America has China's attention, so instead of more tariffs, the U.S. and China should immediately begin working toward a fair, bilateral, enforceable, rules-based trade agreement to end China's market distortion activities. Even members of Trump's own party slammed the administration's announcement. Although I have supported the administration's targeted efforts to combat China's technology transfer regime, tonight's announcement appears reckless and is not a targeted approach, GOP Senator Orrin Hatch, chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, said in a statement. We cannot turn a blind eye to China's mercantilist trade practices, but this action falls short of a strategy that will give the administration negotiating leverage with China while maintaining the long-term health and prosperity of the American economy. Trump has warned that if the Chinese decide to counter the tariffs on 200 billion worth of goods, a fourth round of restrictions will hit another 200 billion worth of Chinese goods. In the event all threats are released, Trump will have hit just over 80% of all Chinese exports to the U.S. with tariffs. Cryptos will come in handy. Analysts from UBS said that a response from China is likely, which means the possibility that U.S. tariffs could extend into the hundreds of billions is now firmly in play. Once the administration implements the additional 200 billion in tariffs, the Chinese government will almost surely retaliate, UBS said. On this path, the U.S. government would then almost surely retaliate in response to attack, raising the stakes immediately to 450 billion in imports of Chinese goods under tariff. UBS said that at that point, a damaging economic fallout will be almost inevitable. The analyst said a positive outcome is still possible, but it will rely on both sides coming to an agreement over the U.S. complaint about China's intellectual property practices, a dispute which forms the basis of the current U.S. tariffs that are in place. So far, Chinese officials have not backed off their promise to retaliate to any Trump tariff move. On Friday, the Chinese Ministry of Commerce said Trump started the largest trade war in economic history. Following the release of the news, markets around the world were in flux. U.S. stock, U.S. stock futures tanked, while the Chinese yuan also weakened against the U.S. dollar. Who wants first crack at this one?
I don't.
I'll say this. I think it's a whole lot of inside baseball when it comes to like the intellectual property violations. We know China has been, riding dirty for a long time. So on one level, do you want your president to do something about that? I guess conceptually, I think most people would say yes. Now, the second question is, do you trust this president to do the right thing? Since it's like so inside baseball, do you really trust the judgment of this president? So that's kind of, for me.
I don't. How do you see it? How do you see it as IP theft if you sign a deal to transfer your technology over?
Well, because they utilize it against that company in its origin nation state. Not that there's anything particularly wrong with it if you sign up for it, but the problem is that the reverse isn't happening. When a Chinese company comes to the United States, like Huawei or HTC, I shouldn't say HTC, but Huawei, for example, the United States government doesn't require that Huawei transfer its intellectual property, possibly because most of Huawei's technology has been stolen from the United States anyway, so there's nothing for them to transfer.
And also, there's, I think we talked about on our channel, Ulysses, they have a whole process. There's a unit of the Chinese military, I think it was called Section 46. I think 46. They go,
they're
they hack, they do their hacking in, companies, governments, militaries, and then they take that, what they got back to technology transfer centers, and then those transfer centers reverse engineer it, and then they give it to Chinese companies who are, either connected to the CCP or, whoever, or pay for it, whoever it happens to be. So they have a whole infrastructure of, stealing tech.
Some of Africa's new policies are requiring that the Chinese companies that come into Africa actually have to hire at least 1/3 of their labor be people of melanated complexion, or actually educate these people on the continent. Like, you can't just have a 100% Chinese staff anymore. I think that's the new AU policies that they've established.
Mm-hmm.
So you're starting to see Africa as a continent taking some of the same ideas that China has for the United States or other competing nations when they come to do business in China.
That's smart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, and I think that's why it kind of illustrates, why I was asking, with regards to how, how what your approach is. I mean, did the U.S. largely kind of go in with blinders on and really didn't think to negotiate their deals in such a way, right, which would have prevented things like, what was it called, like Section 46 or some sort of team that just, what I mean? It's kind of like, okay, I mean, you kind of walked in and they said, okay, look, we'll pollute the hell out of our country for the sake of producing your product. Just give us, a controlling interest in the arrangement, and we'll do it. And the United States, yeah, we're good with that. You know what I mean? So I'm largely like, okay, well, I think they signed on to this.
No, you have a point, Ulysses. To be fair, the United States back when it was a developing country was stealing tech from Great Britain. I think that's actually how Dale Carnegie started his steel mills. Has not stolen tech per se, but he went there, he looked at how they were producing their steel, and then he's like, okay, I'm going to do that, and then he did it in the United States in larger quantities for cheaper.
Yeah, and well, something tells me that the Chinese knew they kind of know when we would be bringing like questionable technology to them to be mass produced for pennies on the dollar. I'm pretty sure the same technology that comes from the place of origin probably approached them about doing the same thing.
And these are
keep in mind that.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, keep in mind that during slavery, a lot of inventions were actually stolen. A lot of intellectual property was stolen from the slaves, and nobody had a problem with that.
Right, because we didn't invent the patent office.
Okay. This is kind of what I'm saying, man. I mean, there might be a little bit of cognitive dissonance here in how we're viewing, the schism here, because we can even speak to our own experience, right? With being the labor, right? Being the labor, being the source of the intellectual property, but not necessarily the beneficiary.
And being
I think the Chinese may have actually taken a note or two from that, right? And just kind of said, hey, that won't be happening to us.
Well, I mean, I understand why, China does it, but if you're trying to balance things out, you kind of look. You have to say there is room for some of these. I guess my issue with it is that, as I'm concerned about the timing of Trump's tariffs at this point. At this point in the cycle where global markets are, I really think we're gonna crash. It's just the time when we need a trade war like this.
Well, I mean, you don't do this. You don't do this when, you say this largely because what? You want to spur manufacturing. You want to get new companies going and all this and all that. I mean, you don't spur this on when you don't necessarily have like the manufacturing base to start doing that just yet. You really don't.
And then and I want to point out in an article it said if all these tariffs go through, we're looking at 80% of Chinese imports are going to be slapped with tariffs. Now, if that don't spur on a some type of hard time in this country, I don't know what will.
Well, you could look at the price of flat screen TVs skyrocketing. 55-inch was like less than $299 6 months ago. Now it's up to damn near $499.
Wow.
The price of potato chips.
Man, hey, this thing gonna be bad. But
see, we don't know what what China's reaction is going to be to the tariffs on 80% of their exports to us. That's the big unknown.
They said they're going to retaliate in the latest briefing this morning, that they're going to retaliate against the United States on this. But you have to keep in mind that the tariffs on China also affect Europeans too. Europeans are suffering because the same tariffs that they're putting on China, they're putting it on the Europeans as well. Although BMWs are made in South Carolina and Mercedes are made down in I think Georgia.
They're sold.
The ones that are imported are taking the heavy bashing on terms of tariffs. That's why I didn't go out and buy that Lotus, because it was so hard to get the paperwork and stuff done for the car that I wanted. And I was like, so I'll just wait until this whole the smoke clears. I thought it would be around 90 days or so, but this is going a lot too far for now.
Okay, and everybody knows I'm not a fundamental trader, but it doesn't take no genius to see that these tariffs are going to slow down sales. It's going to reduce the top line and the bottom line. So this is going to show up in big stores, your Best Buy and even your Walmarts, your big electronic stores. You're going to, when those earnings come out, I think that Trump and the earnings show the top line. There's no top line growth, and Trump has set himself up to be blamed for that.
Man, look, I don't know. There's been a lot of stories that were run this week about this, right? They're going to all of these, these factories and stuff like that. They're in Trump country, and they're asking them about how the business has been affected by the tariffs, right? And the way these people say is it's one of those things where, oh well, yeah, it's we don't like it, but and then it's go Trump. So it's like even with all of this.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I'm done.
I was going to say, even if Trump gets voted out, and it's not going to be easy, if not impossible, to remove these tariffs. After they've been placed. Well, it's not impossible, but it's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's going to take a long time.
For the most part, this is permanent. Yeah.
I was going to say, because you have people like, we have companies that make the decision to go ahead and just move operations to an entire country. Like, they don't just reverse that decision. Like after that, they've already made the expenditure to go ahead and make the move, right? In lieu of being penalized, via tariffs. So once they make the move to do that, right, then it's pretty much a done deal largely. So that's what you're saying. Like, it's kind of okay. Well, once the effects of this stuff hits, you can't just roll this shit right back. You can't just roll it right back. Once Harley Davidson decides to move its its production line that produces all its European bikes and stuff like that. Once they decide to move it, that's done.
Right.
They've already committed to that government. They've already committed to hiring workers. They've committed to salaries. They committed to a lot of things once you go and set up shop there.
They've already let their domestic workers go.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you guys want to come back? You want your job? Come on, dude.
Right.
All right. Any other points on that one?
Nope. Hold on tight.
Real tight. All right. Let's get to the last article of the night. This was brought to us by BGS, by CNBC.com. Catherine Clifford, 9 hours ago, ex-Labor Secretary. Some kind of cash handout seems inevitable.
All right. This seems like more and more real. I think it's a done deal. We don't hear any alternative plans put forward besides universal basic income. Have you heard anything other than that?
No.
Even just in the conceptual stage, have you heard any other competing idea?
Well,
I've heard of. Oh, go ahead.
Let me get to this first, and we'll just open it on up. Count former U.S. Labor Secretary Robert B. Wright as the latest notable figure who thinks universal basic income will eventually become a reality. Wright, who oversaw policy regarding the nation's workforce when he served as Secretary of Labor under President Bill Clinton, says he thinks the rise of automated jobs could mean the United States will have to institute a handout program or universal basic income. Generally, UBI programs provide that a government distributes cash payments to all of its citizens, regardless of employment status. In a book review published in the New York Times on Monday, Wright uses Annie Laurie's Give People Money and Andrew Yang's The War on Normal People as a springboard for a wide-ranging exploration of UBI. To the rest of America, a universal basic income may seem like a pipe dream, but from my vantage point, some form of it seems inevitable. He writes, for Wright, the matter also hits close to home because he happens to live in the San Francisco Bay Area in California, where many tech leaders have been discussing the idea of the UBI in recent years. Here in the Bay where I live, where inventors and engineers are visually digitizing everything. Many civic and business leaders are touting something called a UBI, writes Reich. It's universal in the sense that everyone will receive it, basic in that it will be enough, just enough to live on, and cash income rather than voucher based, like food stamps or Section 8 housing. Facebook founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg promoted the idea of the UBI in his commencement address in Harvard in May 2017. The president of startup incubator Y Combinator, Sam Altman, says, excuse me, has indicated his interest in UBI, and the startup shop's research is planning a 5-year study of UBI. The idea was even officially included on the California Democracy Party 2008 party platform. And in Stockton, California, a small city 2 hours away from Silicon Valley, young mayor Michael Tubbs is instituting a universal basic income experiment to alleviate poverty. Universal basic income is a necessary but sufficient piece of a future where plays automation plays an increasingly prevalent role in the way work gets done, Wright writes. The former Labor Secretary adds that we will have to confront the realities of vastly unequal economic and political power in the future, and even cash handouts from the government might not be enough to level the playing field for some Americans. A world inhibited only by robots, their billionaire owners, and a large and increasingly restive population is the plot line for countless dystopian fantasies, but is a reality to be drawing closer. Wright writes. If we continue on the path we're on, we will need to make fundamental choices about how to support human livelihoods and ensure equal participation in our economy. And automation is expected to make a significant impact on the job market. A December 2017 study from the McKinsey Global Institute found that by 2030, 75 million workers around the globe will need to switch careers due to automation, and 400 million individuals could be potentially displaced and need to find new jobs. And if automation is adopted by employers at a faster rate, those numbers could climb even higher. That's not to say that all jobs will go away. Less than 5% of jobs will be fully automated, while the majority of jobs will only see about one third of their tasks becomes automated, according to McKinsey Global estimates that are based on an analysis of 46 countries that include 90% of global gross domestic product and a mid-level pace of adoption of automation. Several prominent and wealthy billionaire entrepreneurs have publicly indicated that a universal basic income excuse me, will be a necessary outcome of an ever more automated workforce. There's a pretty good chance we end up with a universal basic income or something like that due to automation, Tesla and SpaceX boss Elon Musk told CNBC in 2016. Yeah, I am not sure what else one would do. Billionaire serial entrepreneur Richard Branson has recently said universal basic income is both a reasonable response to the rise in artificial intelligence and a potential solution for income inequality. A basic income should be introduced in Europe and in America. Branson told David, oh my God, Branson told David Geese of the New York Times in a piece published at the end of June. It's a disgrace to see people sleeping on the streets with this material wealth all around them, Branson said. Wright says that while automation is not taking jobs away, it is decreasing the quality of jobs. Even today, with technology having already displaced many workers, there's no job crisis. The official rate of unemployment is at a remarkably low 3.8%. Wrights. Instead, we have a good job crisis. The official rate hides millions of people working part time who would rather have full-time jobs, along with millions more who are too discouraged to look for work, many ending up on disability. College grads overqualified for their jobs, and a growing army of contingent workers with zero job security. Yang is running for president in 2020 on a platform that revolves around the notion that the United States should institute a universal basic income. The most direct and concrete way for the government to improve your life is to send you a check for $1,000 every month and let you spend it in whatever manner you and let you spend it in whatever manner will benefit you the most, he writes on his campaign website. The government has plenty of resources. They're just being they're just not being distributed to enough people right now, he says. Not everyone is a fan of the idea of cash handouts, points out Reich. Some argue it would dampen productivity and cause people to stop working. UBI's critics understandably worry that it would spur millions to drop out of the labor force, induce laziness, or at least rob people of the structure and meaning work provides, Reich writes. Bridgewater Associates founder Ray Dalio says that a cash handout should be a last resort. I don't believe that transferring money to people who are underproductive is good for the people or the economy, unless there are no other good alternatives. I believe that it's both fair, far better, and it's possible to find ways for making most of these people productive, the billionaire hedge fund financial says. That said, Dalio is concerned about automation's effect on the job market. My view is that our algorithmic automated decision making is a two-edged sword that is improving tech total jobs, leading to big wealth and opportunity gaps and populism, and creating a national emergency. Indeed, Wright warns that the economic inequality by the rise of automation could also have ripple effects in other areas of American culture. What will happen when robots push most people out of steady work and jobs? He asks. I doubt we'll see a revolution. A more likely scenario is a slow slouch toward authoritarianism and xenophobia. We may already be there. So, everybody's muted.
No, we can hear you.
That's it. That's the end of the article.
Well, it's UBI, right? I mean, it's all in this pilot phase right now. We haven't gotten any results back on how it's been utilized, how it's actually enabled people's functionality from day to day. The trial is still in right now. It's not. It's still out, but it's nothing has come back from a results standpoint. So anything at this point would just be pure speculation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, have they had any discussion of it on a major mainstream program like 60 Minutes?
I think they did at one point. I think they did at one point. It might still be on YouTube. I know 60 Minutes and that one guy, not one guy, I forget his name, but they did. I think they did a talk about this maybe a year or so ago, but nothing has really. See the thing about UBI pilot testing is that you're not supposed to know how they're spending the money. So they get the money, but you really don't know how it's being spent, where it's being spent, how it's improving a person's life, how it's disadvantaging the pilot tester. None of these results are being released because I think they need to keep it secret for right now until they can figure out the data in order to determine what the process is and the progress is.
Yeah, I'm just surprised by the number of people I mentioned. Have you ever heard of universal basic income? And it's like 99% of the people, outside of these YouTube streets, when I talk to people in reality space, they've never heard of it.
I've also I did that before because around earlier this year when I was asked people, have you heard of Bitcoin? Some people still haven't heard of Bitcoin, and I asked a few people, have you heard of UBI, Universal Basic Income? They didn't hear about that, so I told them what it was, and they really didn't have any say so about it. They didn't know what to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I had never heard of it until I heard BGF, talk about it. I had never heard of it.
Man, these YouTube streets you'll learn a thing or two.
It's rough on these streets too.
I put some links in the corner in the group chat. Okay. Something we can kind of follow up on.
Yeah, I read the top when I was reading that. The first link you put up, I just finished reading that.
Yeah, the one about oil, though, I think that kind of relates to what Dollar Will has been talking about the last few weeks.
You want to do which one y'all want to do, the cryptocurrency one or the oil one?
I say the oil one.
Well, which one first? Is what
I think oil should go first.
Okay, yeah, I'll pull that up. Man, this is a good hangout. Okay.
Now, see, you guys are my weekend. Y'all are my weekend review.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I come on here. I catch up with the stuff I missed with my face buried in the charts all week.
Okay. This is another one on the spigot. This is from investing.com. Beware of crude oil super spike above $150. Investing.com. This is from June 11th. Two Wall Street firms have already warned about the possibility of $100 a barrel oil in 2019. Now another says prices could pass in the years ahead. Stanford E. Bernstein says a supply shortage is inevitable if major oil companies continue chronic underinvestment in exploitation and production. And that will trigger a super spike in prices that could top the previous one in 2008 when Brent North Sea crude hit $140 a barrel. Bernstein says companies slashed spending on exploitation in 2014 when prices began a sharp decline and have been relying on existing reserves to help meet demand. But now that prices have since recovered to a 3-year high, companies are using their profit to reward shareholders with dividend increases, investing in new products. Bernstein says that approach will backfire if global demand increases as expected between now and 2030. Both Bank of America and UBS have warned oil prices could top $100 in 2019 because supply distributions from Iran, Venezuela, and Libya. Okay.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's going to happen that soon, but yeah, I think that they're being conservative when they say that we get, top 150. Of course we will, significantly above that. But at this current moment, we have oversupply. We still have a glut. We're trying to, burn off, along with steel and other commodities. The only thing short we seem to be of is potatoes. So that's all I got on that, So yeah, keep your eye on the dollar. The dollar's still rising. It made it broke above, I guess, the high from a couple of weeks ago. So people thought it was, starting to resume the downtrend. No, it recovered, made a higher high. So that's bad for oil and gold. And gold is
Good evening, y'all. How y'all doing?
What's up, brother?
I'm all right.
So yeah. So next week we should have some more specific stuff about gold and stuff, because gold and oil on, especially gold, not oil, but gold is right on a key support, and if that it's just as Bitcoin. So the two things to watch that are in danger of like changing, markets in a big way is the dollar spiking, and you said I'm breaking up.
I don't know if that's you or me.
Yeah,
Can
It
anybody
might be
confirm?
you.
Yeah, say pay attention to the dollar spiking and gold breaking this support and Bitcoin breaking support. But it's really we're all still in a holding pattern, but maybe next week something significant will have happened.
Well, I think the last time oil moved at $138 a barrel was like 2008, 2009 or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it was like
147. That was where it was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody
So the
follow?
next
Go ahead. Oh, I was gonna. Does anybody follow Gerald Talenti?
Who?
Yeah, Gerald Salente is pretty good of Trans Magazine.
Yeah, I watched his last two videos earlier this week, and he basically said the same thing that Dollar Will just said. Watch the dollar, because the way I understand it, if the dollar goes up, all these emerging markets or I guess developing countries, their currencies go down. So then it's going to take more of their dollars to pay off debts and buy oil and stuff like that, and then that's just not going to be good for the global economy. Period. So, but basically, he was saying, I guess what's going on in the Middle East, that's going to be like the tipping point for everything. So,
right, and I've talked about that before. That if Israel Israel sparks a huge war with Syria and Iran and Russia gets involved, especially if the Houthis in Yemen hit Saudi refinement factories for Aramco inside Saudi Arabia with one of their ballistic missiles, that's going to turn the market upside down.
Yeah, so then we're going to see the $100 barrels of oil, and
you could see $200 a barrel.
Yeah. So
I don't know if that would happen. I don't know if it would happen like in an immediate cause and effect, because again, we have a surplus now. If something like that happens, the oil companies want to get rid of the surplus. Okay, so it would bring us closer to getting rid of the surplus and going back into oil exploration and extraction and starting the whole cycle again for energy. So eventually, it would get us in that upward trajectory. But that the dollar has a significant amount higher to go, in my opinion. And if I'm right on that, gold breaking through its floor and oil reversing to retest its low on I guess if we look back over the last year or two, the lowest point, right now you see on the chart for oil, looking on it, say like on a weekly chart, that low is going to be retested.
Right. Also, the EU has the option of just ignoring the United States and then getting their oil from Iran in the case, oil prices, start spiking.
Right. And so we're talking about what oil now. I don't remember.
And Venezuela as well.
Where's oil now? Like high 60s. The price is like in the high 60s or something like that. And the low is it's at $25 in that area. So I think we're going to go back and test that. We'll see.
Also, what's up to Damiete? I didn't see him coming in.
What's up, Noah?
Yeah, oil's at $70 right now.
Yeah. See, that's a good way back, or good distance for it to decline from here, and the dollar has a good distance higher to go.
Right. Well, if the dollar goes up, then it could mitigate a little bit of the the tariff problems, just a little bit, because we'd have a greater purchasing power.
Well, you gotta know though, everybody's got their chart reader. Believe me, they actually are using technical analysis to make these price forecasts of these commodities.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll see. Next week we should be out of this speculation of what's going to happen, because gold is like sitting right on this key line that's been you can trace it from the low in gold from 2015 December 2015 up to now, and it's got where the line started, and we touched it for the third time. So you got the start, then we touched it one other time, then we touched it the third time. And in trading, there's a very pretty common saying that there's no such thing as a triple bottom. Okay, that's pretty true. A triple bottom that generally does not hold.
All right.
So we'll see.
Any other points?
Nope.
Is it open mic now?
Well, I think we got a few more articles to go to.
Two more articles? Okay.
That we added on.
Yeah, we got the cryptocurrency one.
Yeah. This is from investing.com. Study. From July 11th. Study. Cryptocurrencies could become mainstream within a decade. Cryptocurrencies have already made significant progress in failure for becoming a widely accepted method of payment, according to a new study. That's the conclusion of a new study by the Imperial College of London. Thus far, cryptocurrencies have demonstrated the capacity to serve as a store of value, one of three fundamental roles required for traditional currencies. Cryptos have yet to achieve the other two roles: a medium of exchange to facilitate transactions, and a unit of account used to measure value in an economic system. The report says cryptocurrencies will have to overcome several obstacles to fulfill all three roles of a legitimate currency. Scalability must be achieved, price volatility needs to be eliminated, and uniform regulation must be in place. Overall, the Imperial College study is upbeat about cryptocurrencies, saying they have the potential to upend everything we know about the nature of financial systems and financial assets. There you go.
I think Dollar Will may end up having to change his name into Ethereum Will.
Crypto Will.
It could happen.
What's the deal? Any about that one?
Well, this is a good time for Dollar Will to hodl some of these currencies.
Too soon. I'm not a hodler. I'm going to try to pick the bottom. It's what everybody says. You can't pick the bottom. No, but I can get closer than this.
Well, you speculated that Bitcoin would drop down to 4,400, by Labor Day.
Now, I said when it gets to that level, I'm gonna make up my mind what we're gonna do. I know we're gonna get at least that far, at least. That's
down to what again?
Like 4,400, 4,000, somewhere in there. We definitely going there. I see what it looks like. It's like we could go there. Now, downtrends usually they happen in an ABC pattern. Okay, so we're gonna make like a zigzag, put it that way. So this first leg down is gonna give me a good idea of how much further we're gonna go. But we're gonna go to somewhere in that area, and we're gonna rest right there. Make a little fake out rise, and then make one more decline. I see how it looks when we get there. I know this is not the time. This is not the time to buy. And like I watch other technical traders too, just because they they have different styles, trading styles. Sometimes I'd like to learn other methods. And some of these guys are like exclusively into cryptocurrencies. And I haven't really heard anybody, who other good chart readers I respect, nobody's calling this as the bottom. You guys still there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're just listening. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
I know. Can go to the next article.
So it gets like, what am I looking at, guys? I look at long-term stuff. I look at Bitcoin or any of these cryptos, like, big market cap like Bitcoin. In short, look at the monthly chart. If the monthly chart isn't over, I use stochastic oscillator. Call me when that stochastic oscillator on a monthly chart is in oversold territory. That's at like 20 or less, below 20. When it gets in that area, then I'm gonna really start hunting for the bottom. But in a major correction like this, we're talking about Bitcoin is down from the top. What are we like 75%, approaching 75%? When we get to like 5,000, we'll be at like the 75% mark. That's a major correction, and we're gonna see that on a monthly chart. You're gonna see it on the daily or weekly. This is big. So we're still not oversold on the monthly chart. I'm just going from memory. Last I recall, we were not oversold on the monthly chart. So that's what I'm looking at.
Okay. Hey, did you all want to go over the one that talks about 40% of the Bitcoin is owned by 1,000 people?
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, could you explain
Okay.
that? Sorry, I didn't understand what you said.
It's an article. I'm gonna bring it up. Now there's two articles. One says 6 billion Bitcoin is lost or stolen, and then this one by Bloomberg.com. Excuse me. The Bitcoin whales: 1,000 people who own 40% of the market by Olga Karif. A few massive investors can rock it with a shrug. All right. On November 12th, someone moved almost 25,000 bitcoins worth about 159 million at one time, at the time, to an online exchange. The news soon rippled throughout online forums, with Bitcoin traders arguing about whether it meant the owner was about to sell the digital currency. Holders of large amounts of Bitcoin are often known as whales, and they are becoming a worry for investors. They can send prices plummeting by selling even a portion of their holdings, and those sales are more probable now that the cryptocurrency is up nearly 12-fold from the beginning of the year. About 40% of Bitcoin is held by perhaps 1,000 users. At current prices, each may want to sell about half of his or her holdings, says Aaron Brown, former managing director and head of financial markets research at AQR Capital Management. Brown is a contributor to the Bloomberg Profits online column, can coordinate their moves or preview them to a select few. Many of the large owners have known one another for years and stuck by Bitcoin throughout the early days when it was derided, and they can potentially band together to tank or prop up the market. I think there are a few hundred guys, says Kyle, managing partner at Multicoin Capital. They are they all probably can call each other, and they probably have. One reason to think so, at least some kinds of information sharing are legal, says Gary Ross, a securities lawyer at Ross and Shulga. Because Bitcoin is a digital currency and not a security, he says, there's no prohibition against a trade in which a group agrees to buy enough to push the price up and then cashes out in minutes. Regulators have been slow to catch up with cryptocurrency trading. So many of the rules are still murky. If traders not only push the price up, but also went online to spread rumors, they might count as fraud. Bittrex, a digital currency exchange, recently wrote to its users warning that their accounts could be suspended if they banded together into pump groups aimed at prices. The law might also be different for other digital coins, depending on the details of how they are structured and how investors expect to make money from them. Some, some may count as currencies, according to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Asked about whether large holders could move in concerts, Roger Ver, a well-known early Bitcoin investor, said in the email, "I suspect that it's likely true, and people should be able to do whatever they want with their own money. I've personally never had time for things like that. As in any asset class, large individual holders and large institutional holders can and do collude to manipulate price." Ari Paul, co-founder of Block Tower Capital and a former portfolio manager of the University of Chicago Endowment, wrote in an electronic message. In cryptocurrency, such manipulation is extreme because of the youth of these markets and the speculative nature of the assets. The rise, the recent rise in the price is difficult to explain because Bitcoin has no interest. Launched in 2009 with a white paper written under a pseudonym, it's a form of digital payment maintained by an independent network of computers on the internet using cryptography to verify transactions. Its most fervent believers say it could display banks and even traditional money, but it's only worth what someone would trade for it, making it prey to big shifts in sentiment. Like most hedge fund managers specializing in cryptocurrencies, Samani constantly tracks trading activity of addresses known to belong to the biggest investors in the coins he holds. Although Bitcoin transactions are designed to be anonymous, each one is associated with a coded address that can be seen by anyone. When he sees activity, Samani immediately calls the likely sellers and can often get information on the motivations behind their sales and their trading plans, he says. Some funds ends up buying some funds ends up buying one another's holdings directly without going into the open market to avoid affecting the currency's price. Investors are generally more forthcoming with the investors, somebody says. We all kind of know who one another are, and we all help each other out and share notes. We all just want to make money. Ross says gathering intelligence is legal. Ordinary investors, of course, don't have the cachet required to get a multimillionaire to take their call. While they can track addresses with large holdings online and start heated discussions of market moves on Reddit forums, they are ultimately in the dark on the whale's plans and motives. There is no transparency to speak of in this market, says Martin Mushkin, a lawyer who focuses on Bitcoin. In the securities business, everything that's material has to be disclosed. In the virtual currency world, it's very difficult to figure out what's going on. Ordinary investors are at an even greater disadvantage in smaller digital currencies and tokens. Among the coins people invest in, Bitcoin has the least concentrated ownership, says Spencer Bogart, managing director and head of research at Blockchain Capital. The top 100 coin, the top 100 Bitcoin addresses control 17.3% of all issued currency, according to Alex Sunarborg, co-founder of crypto hedge fund Teachers Capital. With Ether arrival to Bitcoin, the top 100 addresses control 40% of the supply, and with such coins as Gnosis, Qtum, and Storage, top holders control more than 90%. Many large owners are part of the team running these projects. Some argue this is no different than what happens in more established markets. A good comparison is to early stage equity. Black Towers, Paul wrote, similar to those equity deals, often the founders and a handful of investors own the majority of the asset. Other investors say the whales won't dump their holdings because they have faith in the long-term potential. I believe that it's common sense that these whales that own so much Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, they don't want to destroy either one, says Sebastian Kinsman, who lives in Prague and trades coins. But as prices go through the roof, that calculation might change. All right. And that was from December 8, 2017.
Yeah. Got nothing.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I don't think it's safe to swim in the same water with the whales. So we're gonna have to build our own whale.
Oh yeah.
What was that you were saying?
And there's another article that mentioned how throughout the years Bitcoin has been lost. I'm going to read that. I'm trying to put this other article in the description. Okay, and then after this, we can open the mic. I'll share my screen here. All right, this is from ccn.com from July 4th. 6 million Bitcoin is lost or stolen. Should the real value of BTC higher? At the building of Bitcoin conference this week, Jameson Lopp, formerly engineer at BitGo and engineer at Casa Huddle, revealed that an estimated 4 million Bitcoin are lost and 2 million Bitcoin are stolen. As of July 2018, a total of 6 million Bitcoin are left inaccessible and permanently lost on the Bitcoin blockchain. Given that it is not possible to hard fork the chain to recover the lost what that is, the loss. 28.5% of the Bitcoin's fixed supply is permanently lost. Wow. Hence, the maximum supply of Bitcoin cannot be larger than 15 million BTC. And as of current, given that 17 million BTC are in circulation, only 11 million BTC that can actually be used, sent, received, and traded exist. Chainalysis, a cryptocurrency and blockchain analytics company, first revealed in an interview with Fortune that 3.79 million BTC are already lost on the Bitcoin blockchain. That number was released in November 2017. At the time, Kim Grauer, senior economist at Chainalysis, said that it is difficult to conclusively state that the lost Bitcoin are taken into consideration by the market due to the highly speculative nature of the cryptocurrency sector. Grauer explained that in the long term, as that BTC maxes out, it is possible that an increase in demand could push the price of BTC higher, creating a premium. Grauer explained, and I quote, that it is very complex question. On the one hand, direction calculates about market cap do not take lost coins into consideration. Considering how highly speculative this field is, those market cap calculations may make it into economic models of the market that impact spending activity. Yet the market has adapted to the actual demand and supply available. Just look at exchange behavior. Furthermore, it is well-known monetary policy procedure to lower or increase fiat reserves and to impact exchange rates. So the answer is yes and no, end quote. Currently, as of July 5th, 2018, the price of BT is $6,700. The price of Bitcoin is calculated based on the 17.13 million BTC figure that is supposedly circulating in the market. However, if the supply of Bitcoin that is publicly displayed to the blockchain has been 11 million, BTC will be valued at 10,300. Similar to block halving, because the fact that millions of Bitcoin are lost on the blockchain is widely recognized by investors in the global market. It is possible that the current market is demonstrating a valuation that considers the supply of Bitcoin that is actually substantially smaller than supply that is portrayed to the market. There won't be 21 million Bitcoin. Over the past few years, prominent investors and analysts in the cryptocurrency sector have consistently said that the price of Bitcoin could reach anywhere from 100,000 to a couple $1,000,000 because only 21 million BTC can ever exist. If one of the main characteristics that make Bitcoin a superior store of value over traditional assets, such as gold, is its fixed supply, the fact that only 75% of Bitcoin are accessible should drive the value of the cryptocurrency up in the long run. All right, so we're gonna open it up.
Can I do a real quick read on Bitcoin chart? A chart.
Say again.
Can I do a quick chart read
Repeat that again.
on? Can I do a quick chart read on Bitcoin?
Okay, let me put that article in the description, and I can get that right on up.
No, I'm saying,
For any
I want to bring up a
particular
chart. I want to bring up a chart. Can I do that? By now.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll stop sharing my screen.
Okay. Let me see this. Okay, everybody can see this?
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay, in the bottom we got the stochastics. This is a daily chart we're looking at, and we see it's not oversold. I have well, on downturns in Elliott wave theory, it's an ABC pattern. I'm calling this A, this B, and we're going to continue to make a C. Now, we've already went lower than this low, so the continuation argument, we see it here, the continuation argument still holds because this low hasn't been retested. It's not confirmed to be the end, and on the daily chart here, we're still not oversold, and it's no reason to think that this trend is over. So that's on the daily. Let me go to the weekly. This one, I kind of not really looking at this stochastic because I think it's a fake out. It's oversold on this chart, but not on a monthly. We're gonna go there next. I'm kind of breaking the rules on how I'm using this extension tool because the correct way is to start here, and that would bring the price extension like all the way down. It would like fall off the chart, and we would go below zero. So I'm like, wait a minute, no, I'm not. Let me be a little creative with the way I'm using this tool because it would take the price off the chart. So let me challenge myself to look at an alternate way. What could it be? What's another way that doesn't take the price off the chart? I'm measuring from this pullback, the distance from this pullback, from here to this top, and one Fibonacci extension down below would take us to 2460. So somewhere around the halfway point of that is around that 4400, where I think we're gonna do A, B, C, and that should take us in this area. But we're in like kind of no man's land. This thing has a ways to go. Now on the monthly chart, we have it's not officially oversold. It's at what's this, around 2023. Now when the price rates reverse, you see these lines coming closer, and what I was telling you about the ABC pattern, you can see it in the stochastic itself, A, B, C. So it's showing you here Elliott wave theory of ABC retracements, ABC. We're not there yet. We'll see how it goes. That's pretty much what I want to show you. That's it. Trying to turn the screen sharing off. How I do that? Okay,
Any other points for the night?
that's it.
All right, we can go to our after hours segment. Thank you all for tuning in for Money Making Friday. Don't forget to tune in Monday for Space and Technology. We will have a good show, as we always have good shows Monday, Wednesday, Friday. With that said, catch you all on the other side.
All right.